I'd like to welcome you all to the County of Newell Municipal Planning Commission meeting this morning for May the 8th already. I'll call this meeting to order. I see we have one commission member out of action, so could we excuse him from... He's online. Oh, okay.
Yep, I'm here.
Good, Dan. Welcome. A gentle reminder that we have people in the atmosphere listening, right? Welcome, Dan. Nobody needs to be excused from the meeting. We do have guests in the gallery, so let's do a quick round of introductions, beginning with Neil.
Good morning. I'm Neil, Division 10 Councillor.
Good morning, Amanda Philpott, Division 8, around Dutchess.
Good morning, Ellen Unruh, Councillor for the area of Rosemary.
Hi, welcome. Greg Screever, Division 5, Lake New Resort and Castles area.
Good morning again. I'm Kelly Chrisman from the northwest side of the county, and I'll chair the MPC meeting this morning.
Good morning, Arno Dirksen from Division 9, the gym area.
Welcome, Matt Fensky, Chief Administrative Officer.
Good morning, Holly Johnson, Division 4, the area of Scandia, Rainier, and Bow City.
Hello and welcome, Adina Scandrup, Division 2, the hamlet of Chile and surrounding area.
Good morning, I'm Lynette Kopp, Division 3, Patricia Millicent area.
Catherine Siakla, Communications Officer.
Ariana Nielsen, Executive Assistant.
Good morning, Sandra Stanway, Brooks Bulletin.
Shannalee Simpson, Development Officer. Hello, I'm Maria Jackson, Planning and Development Supervisor.
Jeff Tiffin, I manage the Planning, Development, and Engineering departments. William Whip, Fairville Farming.
Jason Cote.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome again. Thank you for coming in. We have minutes, item 3.1 from our April 24th meeting. Any errors or omissions to those minutes? A motion to accept then would be in order. Amanda? Thank you. All in favor of Amanda's motion? That is carried. The agenda is before us. Are there any additions or deletions from the agenda? Hearing and seeing none, a motion to accept the agenda. Adina? All in favor of Adina's motion? That is carried. Development report, Shannalee. Item 6.
I don't have anything to add, but I can answer questions if anybody has questions.
Are there any questions on the report provided? Thank you, Holly. Go ahead. Thanks.
Good morning, Shannalee. I just had a question on the laydown yard. When was that one approved? Like where is that one in the timeline for the solar facility? It was a long time?
That solar facility was permitted in 2023, and now this is just an addition to that.
Okay. Any other questions for Shannalee? Otherwise, we accept that for information. Item 7.1. Shannalee.
Thank you. Development permit 2025027 is for the construction of an accessory building with a 4-meter variance to the rear yard setback. The accessory building is constructed from 2 shipping containers on the north and south side with a roof and east-west walls constructed to enclose the building. The shipping containers have not been altered, and the building will require a building permit and an electrical permit. The request for the variance is included in the package from the landowner, but specifically he was requesting to have that location because he's already brought electrical to that location and landscaped the area around it. There's no issues from staff. There was no response from adjacent landowners. The Brooks IDP committee had no concern and a meeting was not required. We are requesting approval with conditions, and Mr. Cote is here to respond to questions.
Thanks, Shannalee. Yes, please come forward in case there's some questions for you. Questions for our applicant? Any questions? Lynette.
Well, this is probably more for our planning and development, though, because we look at CCANs as being portable, like that they can be easily moved. But if you've put down footings and secured them, they are no longer portable. So when these were initially put there was no permit needed because they're portable, but we have footings, so they're not. So I feel like we've got a bit of a discrepancy. Like, is that in the permitting? Like, I'm not sure how to deal with this.
Shannalee?
So shipping containers are essentially portable, but we don't look at them as being portable. They do require a development permit. We do have in agricultural general where 4 shipping containers are allowed on a parcel without a development permit, but on other parcels that where shipping container, regardless of whether it has footings or it's just on the land, it does require a development permit.
Okay, Lynette, follow up.
So then there was already a variance given because of where they're sitting?
No, there was not.
So the directive went up without an application. That's what Shannalee is saying. Maria?
That is the intention of this application now. So it was a CCAN before, and as we've said before, when things happen, unless there's a complaint, then we don't enforce, especially things like CCANs that don't require a permit. But now, because it's an accessory building, and there's an addition to the CCANs now, that drives this need for the development permit. So the process is being followed.
It's being caught up, right? Yeah, so that begs the question as to, and this would be for Mr. Cote, why you wouldn't have gotten an application in before the footings went down. Just for our interest. I mean, it's a done deal now.
Before I put that CCANs there, I did come here and request if I needed a permit or a building application, and they said no. So I poured a footing just to put them there. It's not attached to the footing, it's merely sitting on footings with the intention it was still a portable unit. And I put a tent over top, which was, I believe was permitted to be not permitted.
How do we have portable electricity then?
There was a pole there before, and I just basically just put a plug in right where the pole was. So it was existing electrical that was already there.
So the main part of this application, as I see it, is the permission for setback. And sounds like the residents in the area were okay with it. You had that conversation. That's a great approach to go at. Holly?
I'm still a little confused, though. Mr. Cote came in and didn't need a permit, but then he did something that was not allowed. So can you explain how we got from he could do it to now the variance? I understand, but I don't understand. Does that make any sense?
So he had CCANs, but now we're looking at this application as an accessory building. So the CCANs are historical. They didn't require a permit. Yes, they were placed too close to the property line. However, he understood that and they could be moved at that time. Now we're looking at this application with completely fresh eyes. We're looking at it as an accessory building. His intention is to build a place that he can store things using that CCAN as part of the building material. So it's not constructed at this point. He would like to construct it. Yes, there's footings there already. However, there is the opportunity to move if MPC requires. So I think if you look at it in the sense that this is a new accessory building that has not yet been constructed, there is some history, but that history isn't applicable to this as an accessory building. The history is for CCANs. This is a new thing to consider.
Arno, please.
Oh, I think just to comment with regard to the footing, that just means the thing's not going to drop. It's secure in terms of not going to move, and I'm prepared to move that we move ahead as per option 1 of the presentation to approve this.
Great.
That I think explains the reasons why we would approve it too. So I'm prepared. If you're ready for a motion, I'll move that we approve as per the recommendation of staff.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Yes.
I'm just curious, so you said 4 CCANs are allowed, and there's looks like 3 CCANs on the property. Is that in addition to the 2 to build the, and are they still considered CCANs once they're part of a building?
Maria, please.
So this would no longer be considered CCANs. It's considered an accessory building. And then these other, what looks like CCANs one's a motorhome. So he's still within the allotted number.
Thanks for that clarity. We have a motion. Are there any further questions? All in favor of Arno's motion to accept option 1? That is carried then. Thank you so much for coming in, Mr. Code, to answer our questions. And you're welcome to stay on. We're moving to 7.2. Shannalee, please.
Thank you. Development permit 2025029 is for the construction of a building to be used as an agricultural processing plant and an office. The parcel is currently vacant. The operation is not regulated by the Agricultural Operations Practices Act. The operation will consist of mixing ingredients to create organic fertilizer and animal feed. The process is confined inside the building in a warehouse where the air released is filtered. It will require 2 full-time employees. There was responses from administration from our fire, and we have included those in our package, as well as the response from the applicant to the concerns on the fire. There was no response from adjacent landowners. We're recommending approval with conditions, and Mr. Whip is here to respond to questions, and he also has a short presentation for the Municipal Planning Commission.
Great, thank you. Mr. Whip, if you would like to come forward. Shannalee?
Sorry, and also his contractor or his partner is online would like to speak as well.
Okay. We'll start with the presentation then. Mr. Whip, would you like to introduce your contractor?
Sorry. His name is Jeet.
Jeet,
can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Do you want to introduce, Jeet?
Sure. So my name is Jeet Chite, and I'm representing Energine here today. Energine, as a company, has been working in Saskatchewan from last 8 years, and we have expertise in the genetic advancement of various animals as well as various plants. This time, we're working with Bill here on establishing a black soldier fly larva growth facility.
Well, welcome. Thank you for coming. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jeet, we're just going to show the video of an Australian farm, just to give them an idea on the automation. And then maybe a fly box documentation on the cycle of the larvae and, the process.
Your mic is off. Yeah, there you go.
Jeet, if you want to jump in and say something at some point, unless there's questions.
Sure. Council, MPC, do you have any questions for Mr. Whip or
I
G?
do.
So nature is zero waste. It's basically the insects do this. We're just using the insect process to minimize our animal waste. Anything that's coming out of the barn that's not getting shipped, that's would be rendered or going down the road as dead is something we would harvest.
Right. Thank you. I have a question here. Holly, go ahead.
So you're using, with this fly, so what is the cycle of the fly? Like what?
Jeet, you may be better at this than I am. It's not the whole cycle.
Absolutely. It is not the fly that we're looking at. It's just the larva. So larva, uh, it never gets to a fly state.
How does
So
it not
basically,
get to, how does it
so it
not get to
starts
the fly stage? That's what I don't understand.
absolutely, and I'm here to help you with that. So basically, we start with a small egg, and when the larva is 3 days old, it goes into this process. In this process, the larvas grow up to 10,000 times, and at the end of the cycle, at 13 day, we take the larva out, we separate it from everything else, and then we dry the larva and we extract the protein out of it. So it never goes to a fly state. So they're never, in this facility, they will be never going into a fly state. We will harvest the protein on a 13th day of the growth.
Jeet, just explain that we're getting the genetics from you as juvenile or 2 days old, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So basically you get, so they grow 10,000 times, right? So it's an impressive growth. And all that growth comes from ingesting the protein from, it could be the animal protein or it could be any plant protein mixed with some other fillers. And it absorbs all that protein, grows 10,000 times in the size. And then at that time, before it turns into a fly or anything else, it goes through a drying process. And then after the drying process, we extract the protein out of it.
Okay, it seems fairly. Go ahead, Arnold.
For fertilizer or feed stock?
The
larva?
The protein, the protein itself goes in for like pet foods, right? So cat food and dog food. The frost it goes as an organic fertilizer.
Okay.
Jeet, I think what she was meaning earlier was how does it never turn into a fly? We get the genetics from you guys as 2 days old. And just explain how that works, how you can keep it at 2 days old on a shelf even and not have them grow till you, just explain that process.
Absolutely. So the flies to egg process will be done in Saskatoon at the University of Saskatchewan. So basically, and then when the eggs and the larvae are 2 days old, we suspend them into a solution where they can be kept up to near about 2.5 months to 3 months of age, and they won't grow. They're suspended form. So once they get into the this processing facility, they're taken out of the fluid and they start growing after they start ingesting the food for them.
Go ahead, Arno.
Thank you. So 2 questions. One, are they grown commercially at the University of Saskatoon, or is it a research initiative at this point?
No, this is, so the Energy office is located in University of Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, in the innovation place. So these are grown commercially, but we're still located within the university premises.
Okay. And once you're up and running, could we come and take a look at your facility? It sounds
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. I think, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, my question is as far as classification of the operation and the use of the building. Now, would this stay as a agricultural building, or is it a commercial building because it's heavily automated and it's a specific process? Would it be essentially a commercial operation, or is it a agricultural operation like a farmer?
That would be for staff, I think. Shanley?
This would be a commercial operation.
Mr. Whiff, will you be also selling to your neighbors once you're up and running?
The initial...
Yep, you're on.
The initial agreement is to sell back to the guys like Jeet, the gene provider. But they're trying to get us to maybe get to the point where we would bag and sell. Isn't that, Jeet, do you want to add to that?
Absolutely. Our partners are open to sell on their own. Just to make sure that there is no risk on anyone's part, we are offering to buy back our product until they're able to sell it to people around them or sell it on an open market.
Okay, thank you. Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse my ignorance on the insect names, but I don't really know what that fly is. So my question is that a common fly, or is that something that's not native to Alberta? And I understand your process of stopping the larval stage at 13 days and drying it out, but those things are pretty tiny, and it's quite possible something gets missed, and then one would continue on to maturity. So I guess the question is, are we running a risk of introducing an insect that doesn't belong here by accidentally missing something that does go to maturity?
No, actually, if that was the case, we wouldn't be able to establish anything here in Saskatoon either, right? So that's not the case.
Thank you for the question, Dan. Mr. Whip, how far off the number 1 highway would the plant be located? Is it about a mile?
It's exactly 2 miles to the section line. Yeah.
2 miles, okay. And we've talked about paving that road before, so that would be a good reason, right?
Just so you can come and visit.
Yes, that's right, just so I can visit. Back to the project here. It looks amazing, and I'm sure that it would be a very clean operation. Certainly the video looks very clean. And
stop there.
Is there anything you want to add?
That's kind of a little bit of a layout right there. There's the conveyors and stuff are not in place, but it's just a little bit of a, kind of gives you an idea.
So those are sea cans.
You could call them sea cans, I guess, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's a grow box, they call them.
Grow box, yeah.
Jeet, do you want to maybe elaborate a little bit?
For sure, they look similar to sea can, but they're not. They're way complicated than that. But basically, they're grow box. That's where the larvae grow, and we control all the temperature, moisture levels, as well as everything else that they need to grow.
Thank you. And that would be similar to our Sewa project. It's coming in these boxes as well.
But just keep in mind, this is all inside the building. Yeah, okay.
Oh, so there would be a roof over top.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Thank you. Holly has a question.
I'm just curious, if this facility was going at full bore, what kind of production would we see on a, say, daily or weekly basis?
Jeet, do you wanna answer that question, Jeet?
Sure. So it's not at a mega scale as of now. So this is the first step towards the success. We're probably looking at near about 30,000 kgs of smoke.
Did you?
Can you repeat that, Jeet? I think it was 30,000 kgs.
Yes.
A year?
Yes.
Thank
Sorry, a year.
Mm-hmm. Shannalee?
Mr. Whiff had speculated that it would be 1 semi-truck per week coming in and out.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Questions? Any others? Go ahead, Greg.
Well, I'm ready to make a motion. I think this is an awesome project, and I wish you the best of luck. And yes, I'd like to make the motion to approve as per recommended by staff.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, comments? Call the question. All in favor of Greg's motion? That is carried.
Thank you.
That's the hard part. Now you just go build it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeet.
And all of you guys are welcome to visit us in Saskatoon if you guys are around, and I'm sure Bill can arrange that.
That's great. We'll
You
make
bet.
that happen.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, 8.1 subdivisions. Maria.
Hi, this one isn't nearly as exciting as Chaneli's last one. This is a application to subdivide an approximate 15 acres from the southeast to 1816. The applicant is proposing to separate the irrigated land from the residential portion of the quarter section. The subdivision will include a house, a shop, sheds, and a dugout, as well as some pasture land. All of the development meets the required setbacks of the land use bylaw. The dwelling is serviced by a septic field and the county potable water distribution line, and they also use EID water for irrigating the yard site. Access to the proposed subdivision is from Range Road 16-3, and there is existing legal and physical access to both parcels. Alberta Transportation did not have any objections to the proposed subdivision, and the EID has their standard requirements. There were no concerns raised by internal departments. Municipal reserve is not applicable, as this would be considered the first parcel out of the quarter section, and it is recommended that MPC approve this subdivision with conditions.
Are there any questions for Maria on this one? Lynette?
I'm ready to make the motion. I like the lines. They all seem to make sense. They follow the pivot. It's great. I'd make the motion to approve with conditions.
Thank you, Lynette. Seeing no other hands, let's vote on Lynette's motion. All in favor? That is carried. We have an item here for other business. There were no post-agenda items. Is there a cause to go in camera? Seeing no hands. There were no information items. Are there any questions in the queue, Catherine? Seeing none, I'll adjourn the MPC meeting this morning.
We're missing some people.
4, 5, 6, and Dan, you're good.
Okay, let's call this meeting to order, our May 8th, 2025 council meeting. It is about 10:42. I think all of council is in attendance today, although not everyone's in the room right now, but they'll be coming. So there's no one to be excused from the meeting. We have the minutes of the April 24th, 2025 meeting have been circulated. Are there any errors or omissions? Or a motion to approve the minutes as circulated? Adina, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Are there any post-agenda items? Nothing to be added post-agenda? So a motion to approve the agenda as presented would be in order. Kelly, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Item number 6, are there any questions out in the internet to be posed to council, or is there any councillor have a notice of motion for us today? Seeing none, we'll move on to our agenda item. And Cole is here. It's a little before 10:45, but I expect you're ready to present. Welcome to our meeting, Cole, if you'll take the table for the NRCB, NRSC report. Welcome, Cole.
Thank you very much, Reeve and councillors, for having me. I'll start in with the Hamlet distribution and wastewater systems. Just an update on the Lake Newell Resort lift station upgrade. We've re-tendered the electrical contracts so that we could get current pricing that are current and available to us all at the same time. Just the way that we got them the first go round from last summer, it took a long time to get some of the contractors to get in pricing. So some of the contracts weren't valid in pricing by the time we got prices from a different contractor. So we've managed to get them all in at the same time, and going over them, actually the bid that we liked the first go around is still probably our favorite, and the price has gone down a little bit, not a bunch, but about 5%. So all in all, that's a good thing. Pretty rare in today's day and age. So I plan on going over it a little bit more today and tomorrow, and hope to have someone that we like picked, and we'll talk with county staff, being Mark, as how you would like to proceed, and we'll go from there. But that's the update on the electrical. Fabrication of the new stainless steel piping is complete. We are just waiting on, they have to treat the welds on stainless steel with a certain chemical so that they don't corrode. They're waiting for that process to be done, and then we can schedule installation of the new piping in there. And if you remember, we've already replaced some of the valving inside this lift station, because there were some failures in that leading up to this point. So once that's done, all the valve and piping inside the lift station will be complete, as well as the safety improvements that were done first part of that project. So I know this has been a little bit of a slow process, but we are definitely working towards an end point. So everything is looking pretty good. As far as the preventative maintenance that we do for the county infrastructure, in the springtime, we've done the lift station cleanouts in the 4 hamlets that we look after. That's been done. The 2 distribution systems that we can do flushing in, we'll be doing starting next week. So that is Tilly and Lake Newell Resort, just because they have the fire hydrants to be able to do that. The rest don't, but we will be doing that next week, like I said. And as far as the County of Newell water project goes, Excalibur is still slowly progressing. Their estimate of when they would be done was May long weekend. I find that to be extremely optimistic. I don't think that's going to be hit, but they had a couple little incidents that we had to go out and kind of look at. They hit your County Newell water lines a couple times when they were doing some boring. So Nothing catastrophic, but a little bit of setbacks that we had to go and supervise. But they are progressing, and hopefully they'll be done sooner rather than later. That is the extent of my report. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Excellent. Thanks, Cole. A few questions. Go ahead, Amanda, please.
Cole, what's your timeline on the electrical contracts for Lake Newell Resort?
So, like I said, well, I'll probably go over it and kind of consult with Mark and the county staff as to who we think is the best fit for that project. Mark will give us the green light to go ahead and award that contract, and then hopefully this construction season in the next 2 months that should be able to be completed. I'll get more once I sit down with the winning contractor. I'll be able to sit down and have a kind of a pre-job meeting with them and discuss more about timelines and stuff like that. But so hopefully in my report in the next month or two, I should have a more definitive date for you.
And their quotes, like for service, how long are they good for?
They were 30 days. I've had them for, it'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. So we still have 2 weeks to be able to, where they're current.
Okay, thanks, Cole. Any other questions? Seeing none, thanks for coming in this morning. Appreciate your report.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Mark is with us, so why don't we continue with the municipal services business. Welcome, Mark.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be in front of you again. Monthly report. Officers issued 7 warnings, 10 tickets, conducted 25 investigations. Changeover in the records management system continues, hoping to be done by June 30th. And both the supervisor and officer attended the Alberta Municipal Enforcement Association conference. That conference provides them with updated training and education, and then they have other education on policies and procedures and whatnot. So good stuff for them. We have the recruitment of community peace officer in progress. The application timeline has ended. We've got that shortlisted. Interviews have been scheduled with the top 5 candidates. We had 11 applications, maybe 12 now. I think there was another one. So that's looking promising. From Fleet Services, we received the 3 enterprise fleet trucks. One of them is brand new, so 2 are only going back for resale with this period. So we'll see what happens with that. Commercial vehicle inspections are completed for all summer equipment. Both mechanics have been taking different courses to remain current, which includes the APWA Fleet Management Certificate course, which gives them good baselines so they understand where management's coming from with questions and understanding, so keeping things well-rounded. And the assistant attended the Laserfish conference with other administrative staff. A little bit overwhelmed with that whole conference because things are flying at you fast and furious, and if you're not working in it and working on development of forms and stuff, you're not always familiar, but we're trying to pull other team members along with the rest of the crew in the data stewards group to expand upon everybody's knowledge base with that system. With respect to operations, grader operators, April 2nd, heavy snowfall event on our roads. We had to throw the graders out to get that heavy wet snow off the pavement. I'll just clarify for council that plow trucks don't have down pressure on the front plow, so if they're pushing heavy stuff, lots of times that plow blade will pop up. So the graders were out to do that. Dealing with gravel roads, we're still in spring thaw, so frost boils are prevalent out there. The big ones are signed. When we run out of signs, we put up the lath with the little orange flags on them and give motors something to warn them of. Grader operators run around, try to knock those ridges and punch out spots out so that roads remain safe, and then the gravel crew will come in and add some resurfacing to try to get those spots to stabilize. But really it's trying to let them heal on their own by drying. Otherwise we can get into some pretty expensive repairs that bring very little benefit, because the next year that frost boil could be 50 meters down the road. So I think Terry was saying over $700 per lineal meter at our egg producer meeting the other night to do frost boils. So it gets expensive fast, and then how deep do you have to go to get the material out to make a suitable road later? It all adds up in cost. So grader operators are also in their second round of summer road blading services, so they're getting there. 1 round per month is typically the average. Grader operator training took place. Truck drivers, stockpiling, got that completed April 23rd. Addressing frost boils and starting with some of the spot graveling, and they'll also be looking to get dust abatement locations started here in the next month. Otherwise, they've kind of split up, trying to get some of the paved roads swept, bridge decks cleaned for spring so that everything's running off, ports are all clean to drain off bridges and whatnot. Maintenance operators, I'll just highlight here that 3 of your community entrance signs are now in place. The 4th one is south on Highway 36 as you come in from Tabor direction. The ditch is too wet to get our equipment in there to be able to get the posts and signs in the ground, so that one will be deferred for a little bit, but the new signs are up on westbound, eastbound Highway 1 and southbound on 36. Dust abatement program, application deadlines come and gone, so we're just back into the administrative process, getting things set up through GIS so that our staff can go out, stake locations before we kick things off mid-June to be wrapped up, hopefully before the July long weekend, weather pending. And street sweeping in hamlets has started. Tilly's complete. Rolling Hills, if there's no issues, will be complete today. Scandia, Lake Newell Resort, the main parking lot here, and working with Ag Services to get the CDC parking lots all swept out as well will take place next week. Engineering side of things, rural water project, so contract 3, Bazzano Gem Rosemary, all goes well. End of May, we're looking to be able to send letters out for people to get flow emitters and get turned on. Contract 4, Patricia Scandia, Rainier and Bull City, similar kind of thing. They're on track for end of the month, so don't anchor to that, but that's looking pretty favorable for us. Lake Newell Resorts, blocks 1 and 4, final design stages, and then we'll get looking at advertising that tender and having an open house to, again, try to connect with affected landowners so that they understand scheduling and what things look like for themselves over this year. Crack sealing has started in the northwest part of the county. They've been working their way south, and that was to afford the hamlets time to be swept before crack sealers got here and ran into a conflict with scheduling. So pathways, just highlight, kickoff meeting was April 17th, and they're working on the Kinbrook connection pathway. We've got communication out there on social media for anybody trying to use pathways. Everything from Township Road 18-2 south to Kinbrook Island is still under closure. It's still under contract. Lake Newell Resort, once labor and equipment show up, that's when I'll push some information out so I don't get anybody too excited about anything yet. And for Councillor Screever, we are fully aware that there is a triathlon going on in the middle of this month down at the resort, so the contractor's aware of that and will avoid any conflicts. And yes, as of the last meeting here, Planning and Development Assistant resigned the position. We've gone through the recruitment process, and we'll have somebody back in place here on the 22nd of May. So looking forward to getting somebody new in again and getting through the training and back on schedule with where we need to be. I'll happily answer any questions that you can throw at me.
Thanks, Mark. Are there questions? I have a question with regard to crack sealing. What's the stats on that? How much is there statistical improvement to the life of the infrastructure based on the crack sealing that you do?
Statistical, I don't have any statistical offhand, but we do know that there is a benefit to keeping the water out of the road base and preservation of the original investment in asphalt. I think I've spoke about this a little bit before, that if you compare our roads to some of the provincial roads or other municipal roads that don't perform crack sealing, cracks get wider, they start to deteriorate, asphalt starts to break out of them. If you can seal them up first thing in the spring like we're doing right now, just always subject to contractor availability, of course, it just preserves that moisture from getting in there and getting soft and asphalt deteriorating faster. So
there isn't really a percentage improvement generally?
Yeah, I wish I had a number for you. I'd have to go read some studies online that may be available. There will definitely be some statistical information behind it or dollars in investment preservation.
It's good work. I mean, it's noticeable that you're doing it. The county does it and the province doesn't. So, yeah. Thanks, Mark. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, a lot going on. A lot of stuff happening. Just wondering if we can get another social media post out just to let people know when street cleaning is, especially Lake Norway Resort. I am fielding some calls and things, and I've said they're coming. It's going to be happening, and but if we can get something out on the social media platforms, just an update as where things will be done, that would be great.
We're kind of darned when we do and darned when we don't, that we did get social media posting and then something happened with the scheduling with the contractor, which caused some problems. So what I would recommend we do instead is, and I know what's going to happen, the signboard will go up at the entrance to the community advertising that street sweeping's happening on whatever dates a few days in advance of that. So that way, if something does change, it hasn't been out there for the world to see and criticize us over something that may or may not be beyond everybody's control.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Any other questions? Holly, go ahead.
The sign is lovely and Scandi. It's quite hard to miss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you, because we elevated signs and stuff, so we're working on that.
Thank you. Seeing no other questions, thanks for your report, Mark, and I'll invite a motion to approve the Municipal Director report. Holly? All in favor, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. Should we move on?
I'm being signaled that we should be able to get this next one.
Yeah, let's keep going.
National Public Works Week proclamation request. This is something that we've been doing for several years. Just really recommending that council acknowledge county staff for their contribution in delivering services to the public by proclaiming May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. This year's theme, People, Purpose, and Presence, highlights three cornerstones ideal to motivate public works professionals to serve in their communities every day. Meeting the needs of people in what gives public works its sense of purpose. Many times public works professionals will never meet those whose lives have been impacted, because when things are going right, no one knows that the public work is there. Yet, with or without fanfare, public works is ever present, working in background to advance quality of life for all. So if council would support that again, that would be appreciated.
Thank you. Is someone prepared to make the recommendation that we proclaim National Public Works Week? Neil, I think.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Pardon me, I was mic turned off. 11.4, school zone speeding. We'll carry on, Mark, go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, administration is seeking council's direction on addressing concerns with school zone speeding, and specific to the request of the GEM School Council for electronic speed signs. This one's a little bit interesting. The County of Newell has its own paved road that leads up into the community of GEM, which includes the school zone. The hamlet of GEM is posted at 40 kilometers an hour when you're northbound towards the school. When you're coming southbound towards the school, you're on a gravel road that's posted at 80. And 30 kilometer an hour zones are posted on both sides of the school as deemed appropriate for that area. The request comes with another letter from the Bazzano RCMP detachment stating that they have also been out and active with enforcement activities and patrols without finding any significant speed infractions from their time there. Now, it doesn't go on to say what days, how many hours or minutes they've spent or anything like that. There are benefits to electronic speed signs. I'll say that they generally benefit in the first couple of weeks of being posted because it's new and people really aren't sure what they're doing, because some of those signs will issue tickets to you. Others don't. The majority of them do collect traffic data, so speeds, number of vehicles, obviously, times of day that it's happening at. With this, I guess I have the question, and I didn't provide a recommended action because I don't know where council wants to go with this. You can look at addressing the concern of the GEM school because it has been brought forward. I would ask that you consider that the County of Newell, this is the first time we've heard about the concern, so it's obviously been reported to the Bazzano RCMP, but we have not had an opportunity ourselves to participate in doing any enforcement activities. So you could look at directing us to put up devices that we have, electronic speed spies, just a little gray box that goes on a wood post, kind of a non-intrusive matter, although some people will recognize that it's there and go, I wonder what that is. They non-intrusively collect traffic data, which includes traffic volume, time of day, speed. You could look at, and then from that we can do our coordinated effort of sending a patrol vehicle up there and scheduling when we're seeing those peak speeds occurring and see if we can determine whether it's all, some, or maybe perhaps one motorist causing the concern. And I don't want to take anything away from the request from the GEM School Council. Otherwise, if council determines that the feedback from the Bazzano RCMP is sufficient, maybe there's nothing to be done, or maybe council would like to meet that expectation by putting electronic speed signs up there to assist in the endeavor of reducing speeds going on in the area that are observed or alleged. Because if you don't have a radar gun in your hand, I'm sorry, I'm not that good to say that you're doing 30. I'm going to guess you should be able to recognize whether you're doing 30 or 100, but I can't say that for fact, and I don't think anybody can say that for fact. So there are several options there, and I also go into the fact that if you're going to look at this school zone, do you want to consider all school zones? How far and wide does County Council want to go with this? Do you deal with the concern that's been put in front of you? Do you deal with all of it? Do you let us try to do some enforcement activity out of there to curb it before we spend any money investing, because these signs aren't cheap? I'm really interested in your thoughts, feedback, and direction on making a decision with this. And if you got any questions, I'll do my best to assist you, but I think I've done fairly well in summarizing everything I can for you in a decision-making process.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Kelly, go ahead.
So I know the answer to this question because we've dealt with this other places over the years. Just enlighten us though, Mark, what does a unit cost?
So in the summary, where am I at here? I think I was around $7,000. Yes, it's about $7,000 just for the sign, then we're going to have some installation costs and stuff to go along with it. So $16,000 for 2 signs.
Okay, and just to follow up to that.
Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
And we have experienced damage, so there is that possibility.
Failures, that there's going to be a life expectancy behind signs and we're going to have to replace them in the future. When we originally got into this, we did receive grant funding, and that was part of the decision making of council previous, was we weren't going to buy the signs unless we got grant funding. We did get that funding previous, and that's how we bought the signs before, and we have since had to replace a sign because the electronics weren't faulty on it.
Okay, thanks, Mark. I see that hand down. Go ahead, please.
Just to clarify, those digital speed signs, that's the same ones that we have in Rolling Hills, right? And I believe there's other ones somewhere around. And if that is those, they kind of shift around the county already, if I understand that correctly. So could it be that we just take them and add the GEM school into a scheduled placement routine?
You are correct, and those are the same signs or similar. Technology is always changing. The challenge with moving the signs around is the county doesn't have the equipment to effectively grab those signs and just relocate them easily. We've had to rely on local contractors with man baskets and stuff to be able to go and pick those up amongst their other scheduled work. And that's where it becomes challenging in relocating the signs, which is why the one in Rolling Hills on Highway 875 has stayed where it has been for several months. The signs located in the community of Lake Newell Resort, the Hamlet Advisory Community Group can't remember what we're calling them these days, association, sorry. They asked council to have those located in permanence. So we haven't been relocating those ones at all. And that's where the movement, which I summarized a little bit in the request for decision, has been a challenge for us operationally, which is why we've suggested that you look at funding new signs for new locations, and do we just consider all so we don't have to deal with the movement.
Okay, thanks. Adina?
Okay, because you threw out a lot of information there. These ones that, like what's in Rolling Hills and Tilly, do they retain information so you can look them up to see how many people are speeding by?
Yes.
And so it's a different sign that would record traffic, or is it's all the same?
Same sign.
Okay. Because I also have received several complaints about people speeding. You know, they get to the school and then they're like, oh, I see gravel, and away they go. So I don't know how big a deterrent it is. I'd like to see something more.
Okay, thank you. Greg and then Ellen.
Yeah, I'm all for these signs because they record when the speeding happens. I think it's important that enforcement looks at that when that's happening. If there's a consistent time that's happening, they're there somehow to get these guys, whether it's out in Castles or Lake New Resort through the playground zone, or Tilly through the school zones, and Gem through the school zones. We have to control these guys going through there, because a lot of times, unless I'm thinking that it would be consistent times that these guys are speeding through there. It's to and from work for the most part. It's not your local fella driving through halfway through the day, going to town for parts or whatever, while school is on. It can be bad, and I'm getting lots of calls too. So we've got to do something for sure.
Okay, thanks. Ellen?
Instead of the digital speed signs, the speed spy boxes, are they available and easily to move?
Yes.
And so that we can see when the speeding occurs?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that would be a possibility.
Thank you. Excuse me. Go ahead, Holly, and then I've got a comment.
Speed signs are nice, but I believe the greatest deterrent is a ticket. That certainly changes my behavior if I get caught. I do think every time I've crossed that area. I mean, thinking about the Alcoma School, I've been impressed how people do respect the signage there. But I think we can get an idea, but I think really people only respond to when it hits them in the pocket.
Okay, thank you. We've got a preferred strategy here with regard to the GEM situation, which is option one, which is to start with some speed spy information gathering and then take it from there, and it could be followed up with some additional supervision or enforcement and that kind of thing. Go ahead. Oh, Dan, go ahead.
Okay, I think I might have been confused. I thought there was only one type of sign, which was the sign like in Rolling Hills, but you're saying the speed spy box or whatever is a completely different thing that's easily movable?
Yeah, it's not a sign at all. It's just a little gray box. It's about 6 inches by 6 inches and mounts to the same wood post, so we can move those things around. The request is for a sign. The request is for signs.
One, right?
What's that, sorry?
And that's what's in option one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the preferred strategy is to understand the situation, and if there's a pattern to how the speeding is happening through the GEM school zone first, and then decide what to do from there, correct? And I think that's a reasonable approach. I mean, admittedly, the request is for signage, but I think it makes sense to know what it is we're trying to influence, because there may be opportunity to have some influence after we know who and at what time maybe the speeding is happening as well, right? Because I think there's some speculation around that. So that's the preferred option. Go ahead. Annette,
Do we own one of those spy boxes that we can just move it from another location and put it there without any extra cost?
We own 3 of them, and that's why I said in the RFD, this is the first that municipal enforcement with the county has heard of this situation. So I'd much prefer if we can try to gather our own information. But again, if council finds that what the Bazzano RCMP has already done enough or sufficient to warrant purchasing the signs or other alternative means, then that's really for yourselves. The only further comment that I have to it is we have 2 officers and they can't be everywhere at all times of day to catch all of this. And as summarized in the Bazzano RCMP letter, GEM is not a place where they can readily hide their vehicle. So if they're not easily out of sight, it's hard for them to do enforcement on a road. That does play part into the narrative, but we also can't issue tickets if we're not there, so.
Okay, thank you. We have a preferred strategy that I think makes some sense. If someone is prepared to take action, go ahead, Kelly.
I'll take your lead. I make a motion to accept option 1 as recommended.
So that would get us started, and then we'll revisit this when we have more information. And I think the timing is right to maybe consider that, so that's good. Okay, all in favor of the motion, please indicate. That is carried. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. Welcome, Stuart. We're a little past 11 o'clock, but we're still all here. That's good.
Good morning, Raven Council. First of my 2 items is to do an introduction, and today I'm excited to introduce a new member to our team. He's not a new member to the County of Newell, though. Fire Service. Corey Cochran has been a member of the Bazzano Fire Department for the last 19 years, and for the last 8 years, he's been the fire chief in Bazzano. So he definitely brings us a lot of wealth and knowledge, and I'm particularly pretty proud that we're promoting within the County of Newell and bringing our volunteers up to work alongside of me. So with that, I'd just like to introduce Corey Cochran today.
Welcome, Corey. Welcome to the County of Newell and to our fire service, which you've been a part of, now a different part of, and welcome to the county. You want to speak to us a little bit about your background and your interest in the work?
Yeah, as Stuart said, I've been with the Bazzano Fire Department for 19 years, fire chief for the last 12 actually. Just looking forward to this opportunity to work with Stuart and the county and make our emergency services the best they possibly can be.
I can't believe I goofed on that. I actually asked Corey before I came down. He said 2013, and I extrapolated that to be 8 years. Sorry. My mistake.
Time flies when you're having fun, you know?
Exactly.
It's good.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, welcome, Corey. And do you know everybody around the table? We'll introduce ourselves. Go ahead, Neil. Yeah.
I'm Neil Johnson, the Division 10 Councillor. Congratulations on your new job.
Welcome, Corey. Amanda Philpott, around Dutchess.
Welcome, Corey. Ellen Unra, and I represent the countryside around the village of Rosemary.
Hi, good morning, Corey. Welcome and congratulations. Greg Screever, Division 5, Lake New Resort and Castles area.
Morning, Corey. He's been to my house.
You've been to our community in your previous capacity as well. Welcome, Corey.
Welcome, Corey. Happy to have you.
Good morning, Corey. Holly Johnson, Division 4, that's Scandia, Rainier, and Bow City areas.
Welcome, Adina Scandrup. Happy to say you've never been to my house. I'm from the Division 2, the hamlet of Tilly and surrounding area.
Hello, welcome. I'm Lynette Kopp, Division 3, Patricia Millicent area.
And Dan. Go ahead.
Welcome, Corey. Congratulations. I'm Dan Short from Division 1 Rolling Hills.
And our staff.
Hi, Corey. Catherine Siaklik, Communications Officer.
Hello, Ariana Nielsen, Executive Assistant.
Hi, Sandra Stanway, Brooks Bulletin.
Welcome.
Perfect. So the second thing on our item today is to present the third reading of the Fire Bylaw 2089-25. While I was away on vacation, the fire law was read for the second time on April 24th with the recommendations of change that Council had requested from our April 10th meeting. And those changes were made, and just to highlight them, section 7.2, we wanted to make sure that we kind of softened the intent of what that one was, and we switched it from saying ensure that burn barrels do not spread to reduce the risk of burn barrels and fire spreading. Section 0.3 has been revised to eliminate the need for fireworks permits for recreational fireworks. Type 2 to Type 4 fireworks are commercial style that already need governmental approval as is. And then Schedule A, which was outlined the conditions of the recreational fire pit, we revised and relaxed the arbitrary measurement of the retention screen to be in place during use. The wording has been changed from all must and always have a retained screen to should have a retained screen. And then we did a little change in revision in Section C, the elimination of the requirement of the extinguished fire for both controlled burns and burn barrels at sunset. The wording used has been reinstated to no active burning after sunset. And instead of explicitly requiring the presence of water supply for controlled burns, including those during wind periods or heavy rain events, fire guardians can now include a variety of conditions specific to the measures or precautions that applicants will be required to comply with. So basically, when they phone in to say that they're lighting up, it'll be the responsibility of our fire guardian to say, hey, fire danger is high right now, we should have some water supply on hand. And then number 3 there, regarding fireworks in Schedule 3 guideline, that applies to the use or limited scope of the low hazard fireworks, type F1 fireworks. So with the above having been reviewed by Council during the April 24th meeting and the second reading as amended having been approved, the request from administration is for Council to approve the third reading of the bylaw.
Okay, thank you, Stuart. Are there questions or comments? Ellen, go ahead, please.
Regarding softening language, for example, the necessary retaining screens for the fire pits, recreational fire pits, now it says should have. I would like to see the word optional, because should have still sort of says you should really have it. And to me, that's not really softening the language that much. I would prefer to say it's an option to have the screen.
Okay, thank you.
Not too sure how to answer that one, just simply because I think should have gives them the option to say you can put it on, or you have to have it nearby to maybe put it on if needed.
Okay, thanks, Greg.
Yeah, just my comment to the should have. I'm okay with the should have wording. I think that's soft enough. That's just my opinion, and you know, it's not a must. Must is very strong, but should I find that acceptable myself.
Okay, thanks.
And
Stuart?
If I could just make one more point on that, when you put the word should have, it allows, in particular from an enforcement perspective, that we've set the parameters of what should be there, and it's up to that person to take due care. And if the fire got away from them, well, then they didn't take that due care and didn't do that maybe what should have. So that's kind of the way I would interpret that as well.
Okay, thanks, Kelly.
I have a motion and then a question, if you would entertain. My motion is to accept third reading of the bylaw.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Do you want me to go ahead with the question?
Yeah, please, yeah.
Okay, my question is off topic. When's Bazzano Fire Hall going to show its doors open?
Oh, let's save that one for after a discussion of the motion, because we have a motion on the floor. Go ahead, Holly.
I think it's been really good that we've had a number of weeks to talk about the fire bylaw and the process of it, because a lot of conversations have come up around the fire bylaw. And I am back to talking about burning barrels in hamlets and the difference between the growth hamlets and the rural hamlets. And in the growth hamlets, yes, I believe there's been concerns and complaints, and I'm certainly in favor of burn barrels not being allowed in the growth hamlets. But when we go back to the rural hamlets, we're having lots in hamlets that are 9 and 10 acres in size. So I'm really not feeling good about restricting the use of burning barrels in these large lots, because we don't on acreages. If you have an acreage in the county, you're able to use a burning barrel, and acreages can be just as close as they are in hamlets. So what I'm hearing from people is, so you have a 10-acre lot, and you want to burn your leaves, you want to burn some branches. Why are burning barrels not a good option for that? What are they supposed to do? So, you know, in the rural hamlets, what problem are we trying to fix that we're saying no burning barrels in rural hamlets? I haven't heard, when I'm talking to people, any complaints have been received from the rural hamlets. I'm hearing the other, that they're feeling that the county is being too rural restrictive on rural way of living. So I'd like to have a discussion about that, how people are feeling.
Okay, thanks. You got a comment to that, Stuart?
Just a little comment. I think I differentiate between a burn barrel and burning branches and leaves. To me, branches and leaves are your agricultural pile, which is different than a burn barrel. Burn barrels are typically referenced to burning your house refuse and stuff within your household to a recreational fire pit or a burn pile that has leaves or something like that to it. So in my feeling and to the definition in the fire bylaw, a burn barrel is for burning refuse from a residential house.
Okay, thanks. Go ahead, Holly.
But in the you're saying you're not supposed to burn that, right? So if I'm on an acre, so it's kind of a contradiction. You're saying you can't burn that, but you can still have a burn barrel. Like, if we're saying a burn barrel is to burn things that are burnable, if I have an acreage, where am I supposed to burn my leaves? Because if I can't have a burn barrel in a hamlet, how do I don't understand. It's an honest question. How am I supposed to burn leaves and branches, because I'm also not supposed to have an open fire that just is on the ground? So I'm just confused. What should they do?
Kelly, go ahead.
Apparently do what the rest of us do and haul it to the site where it can be disposed of properly.
But if that hasn't happened in the past, we're creating new rules for people. And should that be, if I've got a 10-acre lot or a 9-acre lot, and I have a dumpster, and I put my garbage in the dumpster, whatever I do, why are we putting this rule in place? Has there been a problem? Is there a reason we're doing it? Because I don't think we should look at being more restrictive to county living if there is not a problem we're trying to solve.
And just for clarity, Holly, you're speaking to the size of the acreage, correct? Within a hamlet, there are some
really,
larger,
yes, it's different when we're talking about small lots. We do have very large ones, and we should treat them more like acreages as opposed to a hamlet little lot. That's the contradiction we're seeing here, I think.
So some further description of the size of the restriction here. And go ahead, Stuart.
And I want to agree with Holly to some degree, but I want to muddy the waters just a little bit. But one of the comments that was made on the online portion that came back was, what about the smaller areas of, Prince Trailer Court or something like that, where we really don't have a rule about the burn barrels in that, because it's not considered a hamlet, it's just a little space. So should we be considering an acre or less rather than saying all hamlets. That's just a thought.
Which would speak to the concern that was raised.
Which would speak to the concern of a 10-acre place that could possibly burn without any issues, right?
Right.
I don't know if I agree with an acre. I think it still needs to be a little bit bigger, because if you're burning refuse, because in most burn barrels, that's what people do burn, we don't want to have that smell and environmental issue going to the next door neighbor and having that problem.
Right, okay. Matt, you've got a comment?
Yeah, so if I'm hearing the conversation right, it sounds like there might be some additional work to complete on the burning barrel conversation. We're not going to get too uptight as a community if our neighbor on an acreage, is burning approved debris. I'll be the first one to agree that, my folks on the farm still burn their house trash. Sorry, Mom and Dad. And when you show up on Sunday, you've got the wafting, toxic, and I think maybe Stuart's smarter than me on the toxicity of burning just your glad bag of kitchen waste. But, to Councillor Hawley's point, if somebody has a barrel and is burning wood and leaves, maybe that's not an issue. It seems to me the density of a development is the issue at play that we need to consider on this if third reading isn't moved today.
And what I, just to further that conversation, I think, Stuart, you said that we could add some wording to narrow in on the density of the population to further, to more specifically.
Take it away from saying hamlet to maybe an agreeable size of space from that burn barrel to the nearest neighbor.
Okay, that's reasonable. We have a motion on the floor. Oh, Dan, go ahead, please. Sorry, I didn't see that hand.
That's all good. I think anything that's being burned in a burn barrel that's approved to be burned can indeed be burned in a recreational fire pit. Sure, it might be hard to burn 8 bags of leaves, but they compost really well in the corner of your yard. Having the burn barrel in there at all is just encouraging and acknowledging that we're okay with burning the kitchen waste, which is not okay. And even on an acre and a half, when that wind's blowing the right way and that toxic, disgusting smell is wafting across your yard, it can blow an acre and a half easy and into your neighbor's house, and it stinks. So it's not allowed to be burned anyways. If we're going to do anything to try to make this easier, just take burn barrels out of it altogether and just allow people to burn what they need to burn and what they're allowed to burn in their recreational fire pits. I mean, I don't see the need of having burn barrels in this fire permit at all, or in this fire policy at all.
Okay, you're suggesting to remove burn barrels entirely. Holly has a comment, I think.
Well, just first quickly to Dan's comment, a lot of people don't actually own or have what'd you call them? Recreational fire pits. I don't know a lot of people have recreational fire pits who do that a whole lot. So not everybody has that. But that's, I wanted to bring up fire permits, the burn permits. I also had a complaint from someone who said that we've shortened it to too short. He said it used to be for 6 months, which was a really, really long time. But he said, and I've heard from a couple of people now, that 2 weeks is actually kind of short, because if we have windy periods, you're reapplying. And yes, the process to reapply is quite simple. I would definitely agree with that. It does create a bit more work for admin and everything. Do we need to put it a little bit longer? Is that something we should discuss, is making it 3 weeks? I don't know your process to track them, so I'm not sure, Stuart, if that works. That creates more problems for you.
I don't have statistical data on how many people actually phone and re-permit because they weren't able to burn within that 2 weeks. I couldn't answer that too greatly, but I think to your point, it is very simple to reapply for that application and extend it for a following 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty simple process. Go ahead, Holly.
Is there a reason we have the timeline of 2 weeks? Because I couldn't answer that question when I was asked.
I think the reason for the 2 weeks is simply because our fire guardians know within that 2 weeks somebody's going to burn within that area. When you create it out to 6 months or even just do a year like other counties do, I think our fire guardians don't know when people are burning then. It's just an information piece for our fire guardians to know when people are burning. And I know they are supposed to phone before they light. I don't know how many actually truly do though. So that's could be another good point that we just don't know, just because we issue the permit and they have it, do they phone that guardian the day of to say it's lit? And more importantly, do they phone them after it's all said and done to say it's finished? So.
Okay, thanks, Stuart. Go ahead, Lynette.
Here's my thoughts on the burning barrel and the recreational fire pits. Those things can burn the same stuff, right? What you're allowed to burn in a burning barrel or a recreational fire pit is the same stuff. So do we really have to say no burning barrels in the hamlets? They're allowed to have recreational fire pits, but that's all that should be burnt in the burning barrel though too. So
well, I guess personally, I would see a differentiation between a recreational fire pit, which is for a campfire maybe, or compared to a burning barrel is to burn refuse of some kind or other. But I don't know. I guess Stuart, have you got a comment on that?
I just wonder if we were to do that, would we have to differentiate in the fire bylaw that you cannot burn refuse in a burn barrel?
Yeah.
And I think that'll create even a bigger issue, personally.
Yeah, it probably is. Go ahead, Holly.
It also says in the bylaw, all you can burn in a fire pit. Sorry, recreational, I keep getting the wording wrong, is only seasoned wood. So we've been very specific. So if we're going to be do we need to be that specific as well?
Okay.
Because it's you can go on this forever.
I think just to bring this to a head, we've got a motion on the floor to approve third reading, but I think there's been a concern raised around the density of population in the hamlets. In other words, we have some hamlets with extended acreage, and so that maybe there needs to be some additional work on the size of the acreage where the burn permit or the burn barrels are restricted, correct? And I think Stuart spoke to that and would be prepared to make some adjustments to that or find what could be done there if we don't approve third reading today. But we have a motion on the floor for third reading. I'm going to ask that we vote on the motion, and if it doesn't go through, then Stuart will do some work on that, and there's further comment in that case. So are we ready for the motion? All in favor that we approve third reading, please indicate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed, please indicate. 5. Opposed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, the motion is failed. So we'll go back to. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Stuart. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. No, it was tied. No, you don't pass a motion on a tie vote. No, it's coming back to us. And which. Number. Mitch, welcome. Bring your friends up, and we look forward to your presentation, Brooks Newell Regional Economic Development Report.
Okay. Great, thank you. Thank you and welcome. My friends want to sit back there, but I'll quickly introduce them. First, we have Liam Bryant and Dakota Hansen, our summer students, who Liam is a returning this year. He's a resident of the Castles area, and Dakota is her first year working with us as our economic development summer student. And we welcome them, and we appreciate all the work that they will be doing for us over this summer. A little bit later on, I'm going to call on Liam to, if it's all right, if he can approach the bench and hand out some materials. It's been a while since I've been here, and so I appreciate the opportunity to come back and just sort of talk about a little bit about what we've been doing over the last little while and what our plans are moving forward. Of course, we have the 3 councillors from the Joint Services Committee who hear me on a monthly basis, but sometimes I think we want to make sure that the rest of the council is aware of the projects that we're working on. So over the past year, the Brooks Newell region has made significant strides in economic development, tourism, and regional collaboration, and investment attraction, with a focus on promoting sustainable growth and strengthening the region's visibility and appeal. We do this through a number of different sort of topics or focus areas. The first one, of course, is our BINA. It's our business investment and attraction. The one that I actually mine is what I like to do the most, is promote the region, talk about our assets and what we have available, talk to a lot of people about investing in our area. We do that through our continued promotion of the region's key industries of agriculture, energy, and food processing. And this continually leads to a number of business inquiries and expansions and business attraction to the area. We also do strategic support, providing to emerging sectors, including clean energy, initiatives such as the Brooks Newell Hydrogen Hub Project, and positioning the region as a leader in alternative fuel innovation. We also enhance our partnerships with provincial groups such as Invest Alberta, Alberta Innovates, and other groups, other provincial stakeholders to promote the region. We go to things like trade shows and economic development conferences and not only share ideas, but the opportunities there around networking. And I'm sure you've seen that when you go to your different provincial, like RMA and that, you learn so much about what other municipalities are doing and some of those ideas out there. So that's a big focus for us in our investment attraction and development. The other, really, the core area for us with the economic development is the business retention and expansion, working with the businesses that we already have in the region. The growth, economic growth, and growth of our economy does come through these businesses here. Retaining them, making sure they grow and expand. One of the key areas that we worked on over the last year has been our farm succession planning. It's been a big focus to make sure that our farms are staying locally owned, hopefully, and that transition for the farms and the families that are involved is sustainable for them. Also with that, though, it's not just farm families. There's other businesses and industries in the region that we like to make sure that they are transitioning. The, say, typical retail or industrial type businesses are the ones that we see that we lose, especially the family-owned ones. If the succession plan isn't in place, so often we'll see those businesses closing down just because they haven't planned for the future of selling that business. So we also continue to deliver our resources for local entrepreneurs and small businesses, including programs such as our business beautification, New Grow, and of course the Farm Succession Workshop is another program that we had. We are moving into the phase 2 of that program. And actually, just in a little bit, I'll have Liam come up, and we've got some information on the application process for that. And so we will be looking to push forward with the succession planning. And then also our support through our workforce development efforts is key. So many businesses right now are having difficulty finding qualified, skilled labor, and workforce development is one of our focus areas. The other one, tourism and tourism marketing. Fortunately, we get to work closely with Jamie McIntosh at Brooks Region Tourism. They'll be launching their a refreshed regional tourism campaign and some work with their website. They participate with Travel Alberta on initiatives to expand regional content across social media and visitor platforms. And also partnering with local operators to support new experiences, new agri-tourism experiences, and other experiences related to some of our key assets like Dinosaur Provincial Park and Lake Newell and Kimbrook Island. The other area where tourism is looking to gain some more visitors over the summer, it will be Alberta Open Farm Days, and I actually don't have the exact date. I believe it's like August 16th or 19th, somewhere in that area. This year, the theme of Alberta Open Farms Days is water and irrigation. So, of course, this is a huge focus for us, and we'll be looking to have a number of farms involved this year. We did see a growth in farms last year, and so we hope to see some more this year. And then one of the other areas that I want to just point out that as a region, we collaborated. Recently, we met with the Alberta government under tourism's initiative to bring along the county, the city, EID to discuss plans for the Aqueduct Historic Site. Todd Green was there to help talk about the county's ability to support that. Tourism has a strong desire to see the Aqueduct site become more of a focal point for tourists traveling through the area and local tourists. So the discussions with the Alberta Heritage were enlightening to see what their restrictions are and the limitations that they have to do things there. So that in turn ended up being a little bit frustrating, but in the end, hopefully it'll be a very productive meeting, and we look forward to seeing some more activity at the Aqueduct site. One other area is through our communications and engagement. That's one of our focus areas. We want to increase our visibility, not just locally, but across the province and across Canada and beyond. We do that through our newsletters, our social media, our public engagement to keep the residents and stakeholders informed. We've developed a number of targeted marketing materials tailored for investors, visitors, and potential residents. A lot of that has been digital through our social media and our websites. One area I want to actually bring up through our communications is the site selector tool. So at our website, and I'm not sure if you haven't been there before, we encourage you to go to see brooksregion.ca. It's our economic development website, which has a number of our programs and services available. And oops, where did we go? Availability, land, property. So what we have on our website, we do know that site selectors from across the country do visit our website, and a lot of times it's that first point of entry. When they're searching for it, can you see it? Okay. So anyways, they'll be searching for whether it's available land or business opportunities. So on our website, we have the land and property availability. So as you scroll down, each municipality within the region is listed, showing their access to the land that the municipalities have available. But in general, there's also the privately owned land and developments that are available. So recently, the Alberta government has built the Alberta Site Selector tool. So we have a link to that, where we'll go and if somebody's looking for commercial land, what we find so much, especially in our region, the residential land gets listed regularly. People don't want to try and sell or their own property or their own home so much, but commercial land, not so much. We have so many landlords and property owners that have land that's available, but they don't necessarily hire a real estate agent and put that or market it successfully. So this site selector tool will show land, commercial land and industrial land available for sale, and including farmland as well, throughout the region. What you'll see on here, and we'll just scroll in, anything that is on the MLS system will automatically get populated into this map. But there's also opportunities for municipalities and private landowners to put their own land on there too. And so there's obviously the municipalities, you can select where you want. If you're coming from Toronto or China or wherever else, you can look, you can select for certain type of properties, you can select the municipalities you want and the infrastructure. So if we go down here to Tilly, you can find this property and who owns it, where it's available, sort of the amenities of it. And the site selector tool also provides a number of information that a normal MLS wouldn't do. So it talks about infrastructure, proximity to railways, different things, railway terminals, and again, this is all provided through the Alberta government, populations in the area, so the county population and building permits, all that is right there for site selectors to do it. So what we're encouraging business property owners to do is to take a look at this, put their own properties on there. If they need help with that, they can contact us. The nice thing too is that it does give us my contact information here. So anybody who is looking at any property throughout the region can contact me, say we saw this piece in Tilly. We want to know some more about zoning, so I'll send them to the County of Newell, and so as a little bit of a direction for that. So, but then on top of that, I also get the opportunity. What kind of business are you looking at? What kind of supports do you need there? How's your workforce? Are you going to need people to work at your building? We can provide all those kind of programs. What incentives are available. So again, a nice little tool, and again, we're going to encourage the municipalities, obviously, and as well as private owners to take a look at that. So,
you were willing to take some questions?
Sure. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So just a quick question: where would you refer them to, Mitch? Because you are our guy. So just wondering, where physically would you direct them?
So it depends on the property. So if it's in this one, you've got contact information for, and I'm not sure if this is actually privately owned, Rod Wilson. It's got a phone number and email address. So obviously for any sale or direct like that. Let's just back out. Now, if I want to go back to, where are we at? So if we back out and move to a different property over here, if it's going to be like this, development land, it's with a realtor. So in terms of the sale, I would just say, contact them. And a lot of times they'll contact that person directly. But if they contact me and my questions are going to be broad about what type of business you're looking for, what kind of industry you're coming into, here are some of the incentives of it, remind them of the County of Newell's tax incentives for commercial development, and then also, if they're going to have zoning questions or what else, I can direct them to Maria, and they can talk to them. So me, just a bit of a gatekeeper. There are certain programs that we have available that they might be able to take advantage of, but what we'll find, even when we have local realtors approach us about a property, and they say, well, I've got somebody who's interested in buying that, they may not be aware of all the programs that are available in the region as well, too. So, we can direct them to those kind of programs. And again, it just gives them a more easy access into our area. We get the comments all the time that both the county and the city's development departments are much easier to work with than a lot of the development departments around the province. And it's a huge plus. And I'll talk to this a little bit later, that being investment ready and being able for them to go through the permitting process if they want to develop their business is a huge issue. Right now, the City of Brooks is seeing a lot of commercial or residential development, and those developers are saying, the big factor is that they're getting away from 9-month development permit process, and so that's why they're coming here. So,
okay, Thanks, Mitch. Can you stay and join us after,
Sure, I
after
can do that.
lunch as well?
I will
mean,
do
we
that.
have some more questions. I'll take Ellen's question, and then if are you amenable to stay and join us after?
That's why I'm here for lunch, so.
Pardon me?
I'm here for lunch.
Good. Yeah, no, that'd be good. Okay. One question from Ellen.
I'm just a little confused, just for clarification. You said about the site selector area that you can look for commercial properties that are not listed, I thought you said. So if they're not listed, how do you know that they're available?
So they're not listed through MLS. So the multiple listing system. So the Realtors Association, that's the service that they provide. So anything that your realtor would have on their website listed as commercial would automatically go on here. But say you as a private property owner wants to put it on there, you can call it a listing, but it's not an MLS listing. But you can go into this website, put your own information on there, essentially create your own listing, and it'll be there. There are a number of other actually websites that allow non-MLS property owners to put their property on, and they will also populate into here too. So it's not just a one spot that it's going to be seen. It's a multiple, you could potentially have it in multiple websites, but this is a good one that's, again, managed by the province of Alberta and does provide a lot of that sort of infrastructure type information that site selectors are looking for.
And what is the name for it for the website?
It's the regional dashboard, Alberta Regional Dashboard, if you were to Google that. Yep. And then and one of their headings is Site Selector.
So it's an opportunity for anyone to put their own property on there without any other cost or affiliation, basically.
And there are so many properties, especially like old warehouses and that, or just vacant warehouses that are out there. And we sort of have our database in our head or on our spreadsheet of landlords that we can contact when people are looking for property. We just had somebody last week say, I need 10 acres to put some sea cans on. Where can I go? Okay. So, yeah.
It's just to stay on closer to time schedule. I'm going to ask you to come back after lunch.
I can do that.
And we'll move on to our next agenda item so that we get everything we need to get in before lunch. And I will invite Mark Harbrink to come up every once in a while. In our we have the opportunity to celebrate the successful career of people who have worked with us in the public sector. And today, welcome John and Mark. Why don't you take us through this, and there will be introductions, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna take us back a few years here first. Yeah, so the year was 1990. Long time ago, about 12,784 days. That includes the 9 leap years across that period of time. The goods and services tax became law. The federal government announced privatizing Petro-Canada, and the Bloc Québécois party was formed. Provincially, Alberta was holding up well against the recession. Up to 4 times as many people were moving to Alberta as compared to the previous year. Oil was booming, and Alberta celebrated its first Family Day. Alberta Parks was celebrating its 60th anniversary. Myself, I was merely 11 years old and in grade 6. Meanwhile, a young, energetic man in April of 1990 started working his career as a parks ranger with the Province of Alberta Environment Department, later to be known as Alberta Parks. After serving 6 years, a decision was made to move out of the forest and into the concrete jungle to serve as a security officer for 3 years. A choice was then made to return home to the community of Newell for a career in municipal enforcement. After serving 12 years with the City of Brooks as a peace officer, he joined the County of Newell team November 3rd, 2011. It was the beginning of 2025 when notice of retirement was served after 13 years. Service to Protective Services includes 5 years as a volunteer firefighter with the City of Brooks. And upon retirement, he will have served 35 years in protective services capacities, being decorated with the Alberta Municipal Enforcement Association Long Service Medal, most recently, the Government of Canada Exemplary Service Medal, the Alberta Queen's Platinum Jubilee Medal, the Alberta Emergency Services Medal for the Alberta Association of Community Peace Officers, and the Alberta Peace Officer Long Service Recognition Medal number 386 of the Alberta Association of Community Peace Officers. Of John's 35 years, I have been the pleasure of working with John as a public servant for 24 years, 4 months, and 20 days when his retirement date finally arrives. I understand he plans to fish, and fish some more. At least that is the plan until Robin retires in a couple of years, when the honey-do list will be better effectively managed. If I may, Council, please join me in recognizing John Nesbitt and wishing him all the best in his future endeavors.
Thank you for that, wow, that speech, and for the acknowledgement. It's very appreciated, and boy, time flies. I'm still just kind of wrapping my head around all this, but I again really appreciate the cooperation from this council and previous council and the staff. It's been a great place to work, and I would pass it on to anyone. And again, I always appreciate the backing of council and staff. You guys have always been receptive and acknowledged what we've done and given us great feedback. So thank you again, and very appreciated.
Thank you again, John, and I think we can all say we appreciate the reasonable way that you've undertaken your responsibilities on behalf of all of us for many years, and it's a pleasure, an honor for us to celebrate your retirement together with you, and thank you for your service to our area in various capacities over the years.
Thank you.
And Matt?
Yeah, if I might, I mean, there's certain positions at the county that are really important to get the human capital right, and I just could not be prouder of John, right? Like, these guys have got to have some of the most difficult jobs engaging with folks on enforcement. And John, congratulations. I have never had your supervisor in my office complaining about your performance or how you engage with ratepayers. I've never had an angry ratepayer on the end of the line tearing a strip off of John's performance. So you've done an excellent job maintaining integrity in the position, striking the right balance from council, and I just wish you all the best in retirement.
Thank you.
If I may, I'd just like to add that we do have some people in the room that if they weren't here, John wouldn't be here. That's the way I'll put that. And then Robin is also in the room, and she's been working diligently for the past bit, and she has something that she'd like to share with John and council while we wrap up here. So,
come on up, Robin. Yeah. Go ahead.
So when I married John, he'd already been in his law enforcement position for...
Robin, do you mind using the mic there just so Dan can hear you on the line, and maybe anybody else who's online today? Just hit that button, the light, they're perfect.
Sorry, I don't do this very often. When I married John, he'd already been in his law enforcement career for quite a few years. And we kept getting all these uniforms, and they were really piling up, different colors, different styles. So in our garage, we had over 3 boxes just of old uniforms that weren't necessarily collecting dust. I had a vision. So I just want to show you what can be done with 35 years worth of uniforms.
Let's break for lunch. Everyone's welcome to join us for lunch. Okay, let's reconvene our meeting. Thank you for staying till after lunch, Mitch.
Well, thank you.
Carry on then.
Thank you for lunch, and I think I went a little long before lunch. I thought I didn't have many notes, but apparently I just kept going. So finding my spot again here, I just sort of want to finish off on a couple of the focal areas that the one last focal area here that we've been working through our planning. And one is through our regional collaborations. You know, the county and I know the city is looking at the partnership with the Palliser Economic Partnership, which is a valuable partnership to the Southeast Alberta region. But of course, we're also involved with the Southeast Alberta Chamber. We work closely with the Medicine Hat College, Community Futures Entrepreneur and Community Futures Chinook, the Apex Regional Innovation Network, and Medicine Hat Economic Development, amongst other communities as well. All of them, there's some overlap in what we do, but that's okay because there can never be too much support for businesses out there. And we also work very well in communicating and working together with all those groups. One of the areas where the region has seen a lot of great development has been in the housing sector. You know, specifically within the city of Brooks, I think right now we're looking at over 350 houses the city has under development. There's over units, apartment, single family dwellings, duplexes, and so on. I think there's, last count, we're well over 200 under construction at this point in time. So substantial addition to our housing inventory in the region. And of course, this will always benefit the whole region. If the County of Newell is looking for a new engineering person and they need a house, you know, there's a good chance that they might end up living in the city. If we have some people here that live in the city from the county. So it's a valuable asset, and that is why we like to work on things on a regional basis. And this sort of all stems from our strategic plan. And I just sort of want to discuss that a little bit. Over the past
Just on that topic, Mitch, can you tell us offhand how many housing starts we have in the county?
I don't at this point in time, sorry. Maria? No. I know that, you know, with the municipality, the smaller munis, Rosemary, Dutchess, and Bazzano, they have their residential land that they are actively marketing to. And so not seeing a ton of movement in there. Talking to some of the councillors from Dutchess, they're having trouble getting some of that land built on, even with the changes within their sort of bylaws that allow different kind of development. With regard to our strategic plan, so the Brooks Newell Region Strategic Plan was developed as a multi-year work plan to guide the strategic initiatives and economic development goals of the members of the Joint Services Committee and the municipalities they represent. A new strategic plan is scheduled to be created in 2025 with the guidance of Joint Services Committee. This, of course, is dependent on some of the discussions that will be ongoing here on the structure. So we look forward to having input into what that strategic plan looks like and moving forward for the next 4 years as well. But there's just a few final items I sort of want to highlight major projects that we've sort of been working on. Of course, the big one for me over the last year has been the Brooks Newell Hydrogen Hub. Under the direction of Lane Johnson from the county, we very much appreciate his input and his guidance and leadership on this project. We've been meeting on a weekly basis, if not more, with, I think, I took a quick rough count this week, and it was looking, I think we've got about 20 different stakeholder groups we've met with over the last year, everybody from Alberta Innovates, energy providers, a number of green hydrogen type producers as well. So there's a lot of interest in this project, and I think we will be planning on coming back to council here very shortly to give you an update as we get close to the funding application. We've had some very positive feedback from Emissions Reduction Alberta. So we're looking forward to seeing that move ahead. The other item I was going to bring up, I somehow got to it a little early, was the site selector tool. I can send out an email with a link to the site selector tool, and please share that with anybody that you know that may be interested in listing their properties. And if they have any questions, they can please feel free to contact me. Yes, sorry.
As far as do they can they add their properties themselves, or do they actually have to talk to someone at the city? Or
no, my understanding is that they'd have to create like a login and information, but they can manage it themselves. So yeah, how that the one concern I think that there is that the properties get taken down once they're sold, or I guess if you continue getting calls for your property that you've sold, then you'll have to take it down yourself. So we won't necessarily have any management over that, and I'm not sure if there's sort of a method for them to, after 6 months or something, it'll get taken down or something. Yeah. But yeah, if they want to, they can. I can send the link out, and they can look into it themselves. And then one final thing I want to bring up. We were at the Economic Developers of Alberta conference about a few weeks ago. And as in the news and at the conference, one of the big topics of the day are data centers and the opportunities that they present for municipalities. There was a group from Kevin O'Leary's Wonder Valley up by Grand Prairie were there, and they had quite a flashy show of what they're hoping to achieve. But really the extended conversation around that is that all of Alberta has an opportunity here, and there are a number of reasons why Alberta and specifically our region should be aware of some of these opportunities and challenges that'll come along with it. If you look at some of the key strengths of the Brooks Newell region, we have a strong fiber optic network already in place for a rural area. We're also along the major fiber optic superhighway, which runs essentially along the CPR lines. So again, access to data, fiber optic data, that's what these centers produce. They produce data, and the quicker they can get it out to market, the better. Strategic location, climate, geography all play well into us. We don't have earthquakes, we don't have hurricanes, and Canada, of course, is relatively cool to the United States, and what these data centers produce is also heat, and cooling of those units and is the major function of energy draw, actually, of a lot of what data centers do. We do have supportive provincial policies. We have a deregulated energy system here, which allows the producers to access, contract energy for the centers. And a major factor, too, for a lot of the customers of the data centers is the renewable energy side of it. And, of course, we do have access through solar energy. The hydrogen project, again, is a benefit for us. Hydrogen is being seen as one of the key potentials for the backup systems. All these data centers require, it's like 99.999% redundancy. They need power because if they drop it for a minute or so, the dollars lost for these centers is incredible. So typically right now it's a diesel generator that'll be the backup power system on a lot of these, but they are looking at hydrogen as that backup system. And then potentially down the road as the main system. Again, the biggest thing with data centers is that they are major energy users, power users. And so these projects in a way become, as much as they are producing the data and processing data, they are energy projects. And our capability through natural gas as well is hugely beneficial. The initial near-term development of these projects will be dependent on natural gas production of electricity and carbon capture that goes along with it. And then also we have all our economic development initiatives that we've taken on here, whether it's fiber optic, housing, infrastructure. They all lead to the Brooks Mill region being a prime location for them. And this is being seen in the contacts that we're receiving. We are, because of sort of confidentiality, I have to be careful about how much I can disclose, but we are being contacted by groups looking for land purchasing, and because they know that we have the assets available and they need to do that. So what I think we'll be doing, and I will be presenting a more full report at Joint Services next week, we want to take a look at developing a bit of a regional strategy on how we want to approach this. And it comes into effect whether it's for municipalities, it's going to be tax assessment, your tax incentives, which the county already has taken a great step forward with. What land do we want to see developed? Where do we want to see located? And where does that infrastructure tie into those? Just to give you a little bit of a context on what we're looking at with some of these centers. So what they call an enterprise data center, it's designed for a large organization. Say it's an insurance company or a company that's using a lot of information. The building costs on something like that could run anywhere from $10 to $100 million. If you're looking at the hyperscale data centers, things like the Amazons or the Googles are going to be using, those could be $250 million to up to $1 billion projects. Those sort of larger scale projects, there's one near Reno, Nevada, which was recently built, which we'd call a medium-sized hyperscale project. If you're asking about footprint, if you were to take the CRA and put 10 of them side by side, that's about the size of it. So not small, but also not gigantic. You're not taking up a ton of farmland. And the nice thing with these projects is that the actual data centers are not, and this is where you wonder if they can be sustainable in rural areas. They don't require a lot of staffing. A project that size might on any time of a day might have 10 to 12 or 15 people working at it. It's mostly security and data people. So so the opportunity is there. So what does that mean for us as a municipality in the region? Municipalities in Alberta will be seeking to attract data center development. They must take proactive and strategic approach to becoming investment ready. This involves combination of infrastructure readiness, policy alignment, regulatory support, and stakeholder collaboration. And what does that sort of relate to for the county? It'll require taking a look at your zoning, land use bylaws, tax incentives, which you have a great one, tax assessment policies, and access to infrastructure, such as the roads, the power, and the fiber optics. But in the end, the benefit, of course, would be a nice little boost to the tax base of the county. So anyways, that is something I think we want to start taking a look at closely. A lot of communities are already in the game, and as we heard with all sorts of developments, when developers come knocking, they want to, one of the first things that they want to do is know that they can get their development up and running as quickly as possible. So if we can be ready for them when they do come knocking, that would be great. So anyways. So
thinking about our region, what do we need to do to be ready?
So we'll come out next week with a bit more of a outline summary of what we can see. A lot of it will be initially stakeholder engagement. So talking to the counties and the cities and the municipalities about where do you want these? What kind of changes we'll have to take a look at the zoning? What requirements will be needed to allow these into certain areas? And then again, talking to some of the landowners, I think obviously the EID would be one that you're going to want to have that discussion with. Talking with the transmission providers, so like Eltlink or groups like that, to say where do you foresee that this would be best suited. Another feature that a lot of the data centers are looking for are sort of behind the meter power production. So whether it's close to natural gas or close to a field where you could have solar panels as part of the project, thus reducing their cost of electricity.
Have you started to answer those questions, like put together places where that would make sense?
Yeah.
Because there are some places where there's power, where there's land, and where there's water.
Yes.
That are also isolated from people, because I think there's some noise restrictions for some of them, so you don't want them necessarily, they'd be out in the county somewhere.
Yes. There are some industrial space within the city that would, for the smaller scales ones, that would work, but in general, you'd be looking for the large scale ones would be in the county.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and to answer your question, we have started looking at that. We do have some of that information, and also some of the people that we need to talk to. So once we start creating that sort of heat map of where we'd like to see this, that'll be part of the process.
They're happening in other areas
They
pretty
are.
rapidly, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Holly, go ahead.
So I know from doing some research on this that although the fans do a lot of the cooling, a certain percentage of water is needed. So where is the EID on the commitment to have that kind of water available at different locations?
So that's part of the conversation that we'll have to have is engage with them directly and say, get their thoughts on what they are willing to provide and what works best for them. Again, it's sort of that heat map of all the things that need to come together, whether it's transmission lines, water, and
So you haven't talked to them at all yet?
no, not directly on that. And this is part of that strategy that we want to bring it forward to joint services and then get the direction from joint services that is this something that we want to pursue.
Okay, thanks. Lynette, please.
I had a couple questions. One was, you said the fiber optic. Is the EID net fiber optic, like the new stuff that they just put in? Is that actually fiber optic? And
My understanding is that they...
Put your mic isn't on.
Yeah. My understanding is that, of course, they're tied into the fiber main line to the EID offices. What they've got through their wireless is high speed. It's not optical lines, so it's not that speed. But so with any center like this is not going to be your standard residential fiber optic line. They would have the potential to be. The centers like to have multiple providers of fiber optics to them. And again, the benefit of being sort of on that main line that we could have multiple providers come in. It could be the point where a company just comes in and their only supplier or their only customer are the data centers on a commercial basis. So it's an opportunity for the EID net. Again, we haven't had that conversation, and whether or not they'd be interested in that, that'd be up to them.
Go ahead, Lynette, thanks.
And then you had brought up workforce development. What do we actually do for that?
So we've got a number of programs. So we do have our workforce development officer, Clarice Dela Cruz. So, and I actually should have brought that up, but we've got our skilled trades fair coming up next week. That'll be at Medicine Hat College, where we've got high school students from all around the region coming to Medicine Hat College. We've got 6 stations of trades, from welding to electricians, where each of the groups will sort of pivot around, get a hands-on experience of what the trades are about, and again, trying to encourage more young people to move into the trades that are desperately needed in our area. Other things we've got going right now, of course, are the rural entrepreneur stream. We've been highly successful with that in terms of we're well over 200 endorsements that we've done. We've had a variety of skilled workers come to our area from around the country. And as well, we've also got the rural renewal stream, and the rural entrepreneur stream. We're talking to investors from around the world and trying to find investors into local businesses. Workforce, but as well, we've got the workforce committee that meets regularly with all the sort of different stakeholders within, whether it's the YMCA, the Medicine Hat College secondary schools, working with them to encourage their programs and promote their programs throughout the region.
Thanks. Go ahead, Holly.
Just thinking about PEP. Now that the City of Brooks has also joined PEP, how do you see Brooks Newell Economic Development linking up with PEP and working with them? How does that change it?
I think we work with Barb from PEP, sends me the emails all the time. We have communications from time to time talking about their different programs. She's great at informing us about the different initiatives that they have going. We're going to be at Ag Connections, or we're looking at Ag Connections. Again, we're going to be bringing that to Joint Services next week as a sponsorship, because with Cypress County and PEP are involved with the Ag Connections Conference. So as with all the regional collaborations, we'll work with everybody to work forward. So in terms of what Brooks Newell Region and Economic Development does, we don't have any formal agreements with anybody, but we just work collaboratively with as capacity and time allows us.
As a point of interest, that local to global conference in the Hat was just excellent for developing, for getting businesses to come in. It was really, really good conference.
Yeah. And I know we'll be at the Southeast Alberta Chamber, or the Alberta Chamber AGM in Medicine Hat at the end of the month, and I think that Local Global is doing a presentation at that as well.
Your data center information is the key to this whole area. I think you should just hit that as hard as you can and forget everything else. Like, I know a couple of counties that are a couple of years ahead of us, but I mean, the tax money that comes in dwarfs anything that's ever been in this region. That includes the oil patch. Like, I can't stop thinking about all that money, to tell you the truth.
Well, we don't want to put Matt on the spot, but if we get one $500 million data center, how much tax revenue is that going to create?
It depends, because the tax rates are all likely going to change when new assessment shows up.
Yeah.
So the county isn't in the habit of just taking new cash if there's no reason to support services in the community, but it's good money. We'll take $500 million development any day.
I guess what I wonder about is is there an opportunity to put those pieces together that you talked about and come to, like, here's an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Bang, we've got it all together already. Like
you could definitely package it if we can find a piece of land and say, this is what we want and this is what the county's going to do for you. This is what the transmission or these are the energy producers here. This is our carbon capture availability here. This is what we can produce in terms of solar, and put a package together. If you can put a package together that they know that they can walk in and work at, in some of the discussions, I foresee that it's just a matter of putting it out there and somebody's going to buy it.
So do you see that as our job, or is that the economic development initiative that says, like, I realize we have decisions to make, but do we have pins on a map that say, here's where we have water, power, land, accessibility?
That's our job right now, is to determine those pins on the land, on the map, and then where it's all the things, infrastructure. It's not just obviously the availability of land. It's all the things.
Yeah.
And bringing those people together and bringing those stakeholders together and say, this is our package of what we have available. But also, it'll be developing that map and a sales package of this is what our region has to offer.
What do you see as the time frame for that to be ready?
Well, I think we can, once we present at Joint Services, and if Joint Services is sort of happy with what we see, obviously we'll refine that plan. It should really can be initiated immediately, and it shouldn't take too long. My hope that would be 3 to 6 months. I think we could have something fully ready to go, maybe quicker. But it is sort of a first come, first bought. There are investors out there and they're looking for spots, and it'll only continue to grow. But if we can get in the door first or early, it's not first, but if we can get in there early, and then show that if you can sell one piece of land, then move on to the next and on to the next. The one development that's currently looking right now out of Ontario, they're looking for 100 to 200 acres, so quarter section of land, not huge, but it's a major project.
And are they negotiating already on that?
No. It was initial contact from a realtor that is their broker that's
Okay.
looking for it. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks. Any other, Neil?
Yeah, your job is just to get these guys together now, right? Like, your big problem here is going to be to find the land. And the EID owns all the land, so they're going to be front and center and all this
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. I think the county has a quarter section out back here, don't you? Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right.
Thanks for coming
Thanks.
in, Mitch. Appreciate
Thanks
that.
for lunch.
Let's move on to eggs. Oh, we're not, Todd's not here, is he? Which? 10.1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maria, welcome.
Thank you. I'm just going to bring up the map. Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh. Then I know we're all looking at the same thing. All right, so this is approval to proceed request for council to close and purchase a road that is in Division 8, approximately 12 kilometers north of Dutchess and adjacent to the Matswin Creek. The landowner here owns all the land that's south of this highlighted piece of land. This is a road plan, so that was created very historically, most likely because this grid road goes right through the Matswin Creek. So it's really an undevelopable piece of land. I know the owners to the north, the previous owners to the north had been in discussions, a lot of discussions with Jeff historically about making this portion of road and then going north as a trail riding destination point. So I guess historically this was maybe it led to the crossing of Red Deer River. Apparently there's some wagon wheel trails, and anyways, it's got some history. But the reason that the current landowner would like to purchase it is because they would like to develop a house in this area. How the lay of the land is right now, they would require additional land to meet the setbacks of the land use bylaw. So this land would add to that and give them a more buildable area. So our policy says that an undeveloped road allowance can be considered for sale by council if suitable land is provided for an alternate road, that legal access to other lands is not impacted, and the applicant owns the lands adjacent to the undeveloped road allowance. So taking that into consideration, this landowner owns all of the land south of this proposed closure. The land north of that closure is owned by the University of Alberta, and there is a conservation easement on that land. So as it sits now, that conservation easement restricts any development, so no buildings, structures, roads, trails, or really anything that does not support ranching activities. That includes the restriction of the establishment of confined feeding operations and solar and wind energy structures. So as of right now, that would be in perpetuity. There is also undeveloped road allowances that would allow access to those parcels. So the application was circulated to internal departments. Feedback included that the road should be maintained for potential future use. If not for road development, land can also be used for connecting utilities as required in the future. And historically, council has not approved road closures for sale. There was no issues from a fire perspective. I am recommending that council grant the approval to proceed with the condition that Municipal Services works with the landowner to ensure that there is an alternate route that can be provided. If Municipal Services doesn't think that this route can be altered to one day provide access, then we wouldn't go any further. There can also be a discussion with the applicant as far as lease versus sale, but the reason for this application is to extend the developable area. So I think sale is really the only route the applicant would like to go with, but that's also a discussion I can have with them. Thanks.
Thank you, Maria. Are there any questions? Neil?
How do you price something like that, Maria?
I discussed this with the assessor, and he put the value of $1,000 per acre on the land that is the road allowance as a parcel. So that would include that it's dry land, native grass, and it's not developable as is.
How many acres is it?
I believe it's about 4 acres, but give or take. I'm not exactly confident in that.
I think those numbers are just a tad low because, no, will make some sense here in a minute. What do we charge on municipal reserve? 4,000, 40,000 an acre? You and I were talking about the other day. It should be at least that much. Like you're actually, it's subdivided property is what it is. The other way around.
Were you answering a question? Did you? Go ahead, Maria. Yeah.
I guess as far as the sale price, maybe one thing to consider, and we can get into that if this would go through, but if they provide an alternate access, then maybe it would be more of a land swap, and then they would pay for any additional land that they take at that time. I also think that they need to be responsible for all the costs involved of the surveying and the land swap. So that price could be a discussion once we know what we're dealing with, I suppose.
I think that price, you're saying $1,000 an acre.
I think the price of the land is another discussion that we can deal with if we decide to sell it. I think the question here, as was well presented, is that there's a desire to build on that property, and as long as it's county-owned land, that can't happen. And if you're familiar with that area, I don't think there's going to be a road built there anytime soon. So go ahead. Who had a question? Kelly, go ahead.
I do. So how many houses down there presently, Maria? Is there the 2? Three. Okay. So.
Sorry. There's, they're all on separate parcels, however. So there's one here, there's one here, and.
Yeah.
Is there one there still too? There was 2, but one's been removed, so.
Okay. So it's there's gonna be a lot before we get to money, talking about dollars, there's gonna be a lot depending on the access that you investigate or propose, because we've already got a little mini subdivision going on down there, so we're gonna have to. And the reason this road was built like this back in the day is geography, right? So limitations are huge in coming up with an alternative route.
Well, in fact, I think the existing road allowance is not practical for a build of any kind. It's just there because something needed to be there, I think. So, and the existing residents all have good access from a county road now. Yeah. Holly, and then Lynette. No.
So just to kind of clarify, this road allowance now is not being accessed as a road plan. It's just there in case it's needed. Is that correct? And then secondly, you're looking at this point, we're looking at if we went with this, they have to supply an alternate route that would work? Okay.
Which is that double solid line potentially, right? Or not? Go ahead.
The double solid line here is what's existing as a road plan. So an alternate route would have to be decided with municipal services. We didn't want to get into all that legwork unless we had the approval from council. So if it could come, this way, and then this part of that road plan could then be consolidated with the adjacent property, that gives them a buildable site. It also maintains access for the county should a road ever be required there, but the suitable building site is the key. We can't give this land up as per the policy without having something that can be buildable at a reasonable rate.
Mm-hmm. And you have a recommendation that we move forward with consideration of selling this land with the conditions that you've presented to. Okay, go ahead, Lynette.
I'd be ready to make that motion to provide approval as long as they're going to we find an alternate route.
Yeah, Neil?
Yeah, just one question. I think the money thing is a little bit important because it would change my vote. If I'm voting right now to do what she suggested, I'm voting to sell that land at $1,000 an acre, and I'm not ready to do that.
No, you don't. I mean,
It's in the recommendation.
Yeah, but there's a land, Maria said, there's potentially a land swap going to happen because there isn't an alternative route at this point.
I get all that. Like a land swap would make it really easy, but we're not, without that information, I don't think we should, especially throwing out there $1,000 an acre right off the bat.
Take
You're
that
never
off
gonna
the
get it
table.
up.
That hasn't been put on the table yet, really.
Yes, it was.
Oh, Matt, go ahead.
Yeah, so the motion that council would be moving option 1, provide approval to proceed with the road closure and sale application with the condition that an alternative route as approved by municipal services is provided and all costs associated with the road closure and new road dedication is borne by the applicant. So the actual sale transaction is not part of today's conversation. Today gets the administrative work moving at the expense of the applicant.
And the answers, potentially the answers to the questions we have put before us in an informed way. Right now, it's hypothetical, yeah. Anybody else have a... You made a motion, Lynette? Yeah. Any further questions? All in favor of the motion, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Maria. Mr. Todd Green is in our presence. Why don't you pull up a chair at the table, please. Ag Services Business. Oh.
Thank you. It's great to see everybody again. What would we like to talk
mutual.
about? It's like last meeting. Are we back in church again? It's okay. All right. So we're going to do a little quick update on some of our fun activities that we've been doing. That sound good? 5 minutes. I'll talk really loud. So as you guys know, we had our gopher program that was out and about in the hamlets and some of our urban partners. I'm happy to say that they must have worked 100% across most of the rest of the county, because that's kind of what we're hearing around, is that there's not a lot of gophers this year. So yeah, it has nothing to do with us, but a nice cool wet spring that usually helps to decimate the populations a little bit. Austin and his team, they've been working diligently. They have started their downy brome control program as well as the weed inspecting, working with the EID and other partners. as suggested. So I think we're kind of done maybe a half of a first pass, and then we'll be back at it here. As of course, it's been southern Alberta the last 3 days, so not a lot of spraying in 60-kilometer-an-hour winds. Not a lot, some. And we will be starting our contract spraying. I believe they're setting up the UTV sprayers right now, so anticipate seeing us out and about all over the place for the next 2 weeks. Happily to let you know that the hamlet mowing has started. We got a great crew of staff started last week, this week, the week before. I don't know, there's a whole bunch of bodies. They're moving in all sorts of different directions, but they are started in the hamlets. So everything will start to look nice and green once we get rid of that dead grass on top. They planted some new trees outside today. So whatever you've seen on the way in, there'll be additional on the way out. So if anybody can take note of which those ones are, there's a little bit of a test afterwards. Emerson is ready to go. If you haven't been out there, you should go out there this weekend. I hear there's a little bit of a gathering, maybe a supper. Take a look around. Especially take note of the beautiful new liners in the shower building, because there was an insane amount of work to take the old liners off, and I think they put their new ones on in about a day. So anyways, if anybody ever wants to know how that went, please ask Dave and Donovan. I'm sure they'd be happy to tell you about their frustrations. They might even let you buy them a cold beverage to put up with that. Anyways, I talked about our new staff. We're excited to have everybody. There's still lots of smiling faces, so I know it's still week 1. And just an exciting new thing we're getting involved with. Foothills Forage and Grazing Association, as well as Enview Canada is working with us. We are going to do some pasture, what does Sonia call it? The pasture power up demonstration. So we're doing the work this year, and we're going to do a demonstration day in 2026. So Austin and Sonia is from Foothills Forage. They're setting up, I think there's 6 or 8 different trial kind of things, 1 acre, 2 acre kind of at a time. We're going to try spraying weeds, spraying brush, mowing weeds, mowing brush, different times of year, that kind of stuff. Different weeds, different schedules. So they're setting all that up. It should be a great time. It's happening north of Patricia next year with two separate landowners, which I will admit, when I only had to make 2 phone calls to find 2 wonderful landowners, because when I mentioned we would spray weeds and show them, I would spray weeds so we could demonstrate what would work and what wouldn't work. They were just happy to get rid of weeds, and it was the easiest conversation ever. Outside of that, I'd be happy to hear any questions that you have. Nothing else exciting has been going on.
Let's open the floor to questions. Polly.
Downey Brome, where's it at? What are you seeing for it growing this year? Did it have a good start, the cool, or what did you see?
We had a beautiful fall for starting Downey Brome. Most of our Downey Brome is a winter annual. It sometimes acts as an annual as well. So when we had that rain last September, we had a good little jag of rain September, October, that just spurred it to get going. So any place that you had a little bit of Downey Brome in the past, there's probably more this year than previous years. We call these years good control years. Yes. So like I say, that's why I'm optimistic we're a half a pass through our first pass. Because I think these are the times of years where you can go to the patch you've been to in the past and spray what you sprayed in the past, but then come back and you'll find the other stuff that's around or has been moved by a piece of equipment that you didn't know was there. So there's always lots going on.
Thanks, Todd. Adina, please.
This is just more of a comment, but I was looking through a report and I noticed there's a lot of people who got paid for coyotes. Looks like there should be a lot less coyotes in the county annual now.
We do pay for a lot of coyotes. I would say some of our participants, I'm trying to use all the right words, some of our participants that typically bring in more coyotes than the others, we're down in numbers this year, but we've seen lots of smaller numbers coming in. So usually in those reports, specifically, you're probably thinking about the payment registry. You would probably only see maybe a half of those names. But this year we just seen more guys maybe out and about doing some harvesting. So, but we do annually remove with that program between 14 and 1,600 coyotes.
Well, I was going to say, I think I saw where a fellow was paid like $1,600 or something like that, and at $20 a coyote.
It's a lot of coyotes.
That's a lot of coyotes.
Yep. It's good work. We had one participant that they only had traps set up in a very small area, and they said they couldn't stop collecting. Not very far from Lynette, actually. Division 3 is typically our highest numbers.
Greg.
Yeah, my question is in regards to mowing in the hamlets. Ag Services takes care of that, right? So my question is, when there's open land within the hamlet boundaries, a lot of this, say if it's prairie grass, it's high and it's dry. Is there any kind of buffer that maybe we should be mowing to help protect the hamlet? I don't know if there's much of a problem in, say, Patricia or Rolling Hills or Tilly. I know there is out in Lake No Resort, land that's owned by the EID, that the dry grass is very, very high. So I don't know if there's a hazard there and whether it should be mowed because it's not required to be mowed. Just wondering if it's something that we should be looking at for a grass fire hazard.
Yeah, and there could be maybe a different, it'd be hard to answer that question right now. We typically don't mow private property without an agreement. And it could be argued that we might be causing more of a fire hazard by trying to mow that. But yeah, maybe another conversation. We have, so that would be block 5, I believe, the one that's on the right-hand side of the road. I could name some landowners, but that wouldn't be nice. I think it's block 5. We have mowed, Patricia has mowed with the big mower a few passes behind there. Not usually every year, but if it's requested of us, we'll do that just to kind of keep that down. But it's not a typical practice.
Okay, thank you. Todd, any other questions? Seeing none, let's move on to the rural. You're taking the rural beautification?
Yes.
Reports, absolutely.
I would love to. We took 8 minutes on my informal report. So
here comes the judge.
Yes, we need a judge. That's the only reason we're back here today, because we only had 8 council members last time when we were discussing this, and we didn't find it appropriate to find a judge without the other 2 here. That's how I'm doing it. That's what I'm saying. So, but I'm not leaving here without a judge. I think we're all happy. We're excited. We had some good pizza for lunch, and we're here to pick a judge.
Would you accept volunteers?
Yes.
First, is there someone that would volunteer to judge Rural Beautification Awards? Holly. All right.
Just one?
A 1 is all we need.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
You got her.
Holly's our judge.
Holly's the judge.
And the day is what?
July 17th. And potentially the 18th. Depends how much fun we want to have.
Okay.
So that's all we needed on that one, isn't it?
Do we need a motion for that? Someone make a motion that, Kelly, all in favor of Holly being the judge for the rural beautification? That's carried. Thank you.
And in case you weren't around, Holly, you weren't here at the last meeting, were you? No.
I listened to the whole meeting though.
Oh, good. Well, then you know it's me, you, and Amanda that are going to be driving around judging yards with big smiles on our face. All right. Should we go on to the wild boar thing?
Yes.
While I'm here?
Yeah. 12.1.
It's a long walk back upstairs, so that would work best for me. All right. So yesterday, actually, we got this email, and and I probably wouldn't have worked this fast at it, but Matt was thinking this was probably a great meeting to talk about it so that we could get some word back to the province by their May 15th deadline. So wild boars have been on the Agricultural Pest Act since 2008. Many debates have occurred over the wild boar industry. I think pigs in general are notorious from escaping their confined spaces or their just spaces in general. And it's believed that the wild boar at large concerns have generated from farms that once had them in captivity. Wild boar at large pose a significant threat to agriculture and the environment, eating and ruining crops, stored materials, and rooting sensitive areas. So all that being said, I think what the province is looking from us is an opinion on what our opinion is on moving forward with the wild boar problem. Currently, we don't have wild boar in the county of Newell that I am aware of anyways, unless somebody knows of somebody who's got some backyard ones, but I don't believe there are. We have heard anecdotally that they have been on the Red Deer River before. Somebody has told us they'd seen them on a game camera. That's unfounded. We've never actually seen that picture. But it wouldn't be out of the question because we understood that there was a wild boar farm maybe near Empress, and that would be awfully close to the Red Deer River, and it could be coming our way. And so, I asked Lynette to ask me specific questions about this just to keep the conversation light. But we have no experience in this outside of one isolated incident where a potbelly pig was misidentified as a wild boar and an entertaining yet exhausting capture effort ensued.
Okay, Lynette, questions?
Yeah, I think I need to know how long it took you to attempt to capture.
Okay, well, this is a long time ago, so I'll only take 5 minutes. But I got this phone call from this concerned resident, and he said, this was shortly after wild boar, it kind of hit the news. They were on the Ag Pest Act. It was a big concern. So I'm going to say this is maybe 2009, 2010. And I was an ambitious young fella in 2009 and 2010, I got to tell you. So I get this phone call. Buddy calls. He's like, I got this wild boar right off the 544 in Patricia. And I'm like, no way. He's like, yes. I'm like, stay right there. And I burn up this highway, and I get there. And I thought this is going to be great. We're going to find wild boar in the county of Newell. We're going to have this great hunt. We're going to get this thing. So I show up, and this poor little potbelly pig is down in the bottom of the ditch, and he's covering beside a culvert. And I thought to myself, well, that's not a wild boar, but this poor little sap don't belong out in the middle of the prairie. So I says to the guy, well, how are we going to catch him? Because I was thinking we were going to exterminate this thing. And now we're looking for somebody's pet. So anyways, I look in the back of my truck, nothing. This fellow looks in the back of his truck, a garden hose. I'm like, well, what the heck are we going to do with a garden hose? He's like, well, I'm a little bit of a roper. Let's make a rope out of this thing. So here we are carrying this 100 feet of garden hose because we were too lazy to cut it. I'm following him, and he's trying to rope this thing. God, I hope the internet just loves that. But anyways, we never did catch the little guy. He went south through the prairie faster than we could run, and the owners did get him back. But anyways, that was my entertaining yet exhausting story about potbelly pigs and how fast they can run. And I would never tell who that person is that had the garden hose on camera. Yeah.
Okay.
He'll know. Anyway, so yes, just looking for some direction. I think everybody got the Cole's notes from the province's presentation. I don't know if you want my recommendation or not, but I'd be happy to hear your opinions for sure.
What's your recommendation?
Well, I think we should phase out the potential problems.
Yeah. Good. I think that's a good idea. Holly?
I would agree, and I guess you didn't hear about the big pig chase down by Scandia. There were pigs they couldn't get hold of, and there were somebody's pet pigs that got away. But there was great stories looking for. No one could find these pigs that you spotted, and people wanted to catch them and take them home as pets, and they couldn't be found. And eventually they were. But it was a lot of stories about pigs in Scandia for a couple of weeks.
Okay. Any other questions? Or someone prepared to make a motion to, go ahead, Holly.
I'll make a motion to support Todd's recommendation.
Thank you. All in favor? It's carried unanimously.
Well, thank you for that. I hope you appreciated my fun story.
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to hear anybody's pig stories at any time.
Thanks, Todd.
Why don't we just keep going?
Let's
down here. I'll get 12.2.
12.2. Yeah.
Yeah, 12.2. I think I can make quick work.
Yeah. Let's take Matt on 12.2. We'll eat up this agenda as quick as we can.
All right, I'm going to try and be quick with this one. This came in kind of last minute as well. City of Brooks met on Monday, and then we received the letter here. So I apologize. One of the things I hate doing most as CAO is changing an agenda or adding to it after we've circulated it. So my apologies, but some of these are time sensitive. City Council, you'll have seen the letter of request requesting County Council to consider allocating $60,000 of what remains allocated for the City of Brooks out of that Regional Enhancement Reserve. So this is an older reserve. When it was initially set up, it was targeted specifically towards capital projects that had a regional benefit, right? Like everybody in the region has access to it. I wouldn't get too hung up on the capital piece. I'm very excited that the City of Brooks has moved to join the partnership. I was thrilled with the level of excitement that CAO Chris Parker was bringing to this committee. If you think of the Newell Regional Emergency Partnership as a team, and you're building a team looking to build bench strength, this is huge for the region whenever the next emergency comes. So administration's recommendation is that council approves spending of $60,000 from the Regional Enhancement Fund in support of the City of Brooks' request to fund the onboarding and integration costs of joining the Newell Regional Emergency Partnership.
Thanks, Matt. We've got a good explanation written in our presentation and explanation of why we would do this. With the recommendation, is any questions or someone prepared to make a motion? Question or motion? Go ahead, please.
I'd like to make a motion to expend those funds from regional enhancement money.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate. That was carried. Thanks, Matt. 12.3. CP Kansas City Tracks and Structures.
Well, good afternoon, and apologies as well, because this was a last-minute addition from a letter that was received earlier. So with the 4 capital improvements of railway crossings scheduled between CP Rail and the partnership the County Council entered into with them earlier with budget, it's been identified that in Bazzano, so the water treatment road, as most people know it, Range Road 18-4 or 11th Street in Bazzano, CPKC conducted another review and said, let's pull the spur track crossing out. It hasn't been used as a storage track for anything. It's the old Princess or Royal line that ran all the way to Empress at the border and beyond. With that, however, by pulling the track, the control gates, audible measures and stuff are now separated so far that it doesn't meet current standards for railway crossings. On top of that, those controls are obsolete. They're hard to find parts for and whatever not. So they're asking for additional funding to get new infrastructure put in place, remove that spur track crossing, pave across it, and relocate the crossing arm. So the estimate that they threw towards us was $59,400. We've been in partnership with them on a 50-50 cost share for the 4 crossings more or less per year that the County Council has supported. So I'm recommending we maintain that 50% cost sharing representation with $29,700 for the one-time expenditure on the improvements. If Council will support that, that would be great, and they hope to complete that on May 22nd. So needed to get that in today rather than May 22nd meeting.
Right. And that arrangement's acceptable to CPKC? Yeah.
I'm assuming so. I think they're, based on their letter, they're looking for any kind of partnership possible, so.
Okay, any questions? Someone prepared to make a motion? Lynette, please.
I'll make the motion to
Proceed as per the recommendation.
50/50 funds with CPKC.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That's carried.
Thank you very much.
Now let's move back to item number 10.2, Bazzano Professional Rodeo Pancake Breakfast on June 21st, 2025. Ariana, please.
All right, thank you. So it was brought up last meeting when we did the motion for the Brooks Rodeo Pancake Breakfast. Now this is the formal request for 50% cost sharing of the Bassano Rodeo Pancake Breakfast. We've been doing this for 2 years now. The funding is in the budget. Last year's costs were just under $250. As for the volunteers for both events, after this meeting, I'm going to send invitations for both events, and then you can reply to those if you're available to help out. But today, we're looking for the motion approving the 50% cost share.
Thank you. Any questions? Someone prepared to make a motion? Amanda, please.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. Thanks, Ariana. Compensation review. What's needed there? Are there any questions or comments or a motion of acceptance of the councillor payment sheets, right? Adina, please.
I move we accept it.
All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Functions of council. Brookston District Community Fund Community Grant presentation is May the 30th. That invitation, was that a general invitation? I got one, but yeah. Should that be a function of council or not? I guess it doesn't need to be. Pardon me? It hasn't been. Okay, then let's just leave it. Okay, it's good. I wasn't sure what the status of that was. Anything else? I have one suggestion that I had mentioned a while back, and I thought we kind of agreed to it, but we didn't make a motion on it, so nothing has happened. There's, on May the 21st to 23rd, it's called Inventures Calgary, which is Alberta Innovations Conference for 3 days, 2.5 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Very interesting set of presentations. And I said I was interested in going, and I have since looked at the agenda or some of the presentations, discussed it with Matt. I think it's pretty good, potentially. To me, it would make sense if more than one of us went, because there's quite a few concurrent sessions, and it covers everything from agriculture to medicine to AI and a wide range of innovations from presenters that we won't see, that we won't be exposed to most often, I don't think. It doesn't come without some cost. It's in Calgary, downtown Calgary, and I think the cost is between $500 and $700 for registration. Yeah, thank you. It's during our next council. It'll takes in the next council meeting. It's the 21st to the 23rd.
I just sent something.
Okay, everybody just got a link. Neil, you got a comment?
Yeah, I think it's excellent stuff, especially with this data center info that's starting to bubble. I think we should hit it as hard as we can.
So I I mean, I'd be interested in going, but I would actually quite appreciate someone else coming along because I think we'd cover the bases better if someone's interested. Matt, Greg would be in. I think it could be, and you've got some staff considering it, and I think if we, if there's 2 or more of us that are there, we should. Pardon me? Yeah. Do you know?
I know the band.
Sorry, Kelly, or Holly, I mean?
I'll make a motion that 2 councillors can attend. Is that good?
2? 2 or
Is that
3,
is that
whatever
the plan?
you
2?
prefer. The implication is that we'll miss the next council meeting, which is just fine, I'm sure. That's not
So just a reminder, we want to keep quorum so we
Yeah.
can have a council meeting.
exactly, that's,
To be honest. If Dan's around, right?
We have 10,
Yeah.
so 2 can go still as 8, and Dan's
Yeah.
might still
I
have
think
7.
there's- Yeah, I think there's more that want to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there?
Yeah.
Let's just cancel that kind of meeting.
Use your mic, Neil.
Yeah, if we have to cancel the county meeting, cancel the county meeting. I think this is excellent stuff.
yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to, we don't need to postpone the meeting if
You guys could join it virtually.
or we could join virtually for part of it if we needed to, too, as well. So, motion, Holly, would you extend that to 3, or what are you thinking? Or 2? It's, or,
Okay, I can change a motion to 3 attend.
okay, all in favor, please indicate. Okay, that's carried, thank you. Yeah. Ariane, you can get us registered for that. Thank you. Good. I think we're dangerously close to the end of our agenda, other than in camera. And there's information there. Anybody have questions about any of the information items? Seeing none. Was that a motion to go in camera? Yeah. I think that was a motion to go in camera. Adina, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you.